Good evening, friends. Welcome. Another one of our Slant Alpha adventures getting underway, live from Studio 5 just outside of Ocean City, Maryland, where it is not quite as nice weather as this. It's not too bad here right now. It's cold. You know, I live 6 miles from a beach resort, but it's not a year-round beach resort, really. Not beach weather, at least. But, yeah, it's a little chilly where I live now, but it's nice here where we are in the Sim, which is the big island of Hawaii. We're here at Kona Airport, the big island of Hawaii on the western side. Going to do some Hawaiian flying, as I like to call it. We're here in the BAe-146. We're connected to the network as Hawaiian 5514, although the Hawaiian Airlines never flew any variant of the BAe or the Avro or anything like that. So we're kind of just toying with history and reality a little bit, just because it's a fun plane that I like to fly, and I like to fly it here in the Hawaiian Islands, and so reality be damned, that's what we're going to do. Welcome, friends. Appreciate you jumping in and riding with us today. We are knocking out a few airports in the Honolulu Control Facility's Pilot Passport Challenge, modeled off of a similar program that they run in the Atlanta ARTCC that we've been working on stream a number of times, and we've also started kind of working on this Hawaii one as well. There's no Friday Night Ops tonight. There's no event on the calendar within VATUSA, but we are blessed to say we do have some VATSIM air traffic control here in Hawaii right now. Hopefully they'll stay on for at least the first flight tonight, or a good portion of it. You never know, comes and goes. Well, VATSIM air traffic control coverage comes and goes when it's outside of a published event, but we'll keep our fingers crossed that they're going to stick around here for a little while. The Passport Challenge, it's on the VHCF.net website. HCF stands for Honolulu Control Facility. It is what this facility is called in the real world, so that's what they call it on VATSIM as well. They just throw a V in front of it. VHCF.net. If we go under Pilots and the Pilot Passport Challenge, and you do have to log in with your VATSIM account, and there's nothing up there that you don't know, so go ahead and just hit OK there. And you can go under enrollments. They have 3 lists, same as the Atlanta one. The lists are different, but the concept of there being 3 different lists is the same. In Hawaii, the lists are the Hawaii big airports, the Hawaii small airports, and Guam. And we're going to knock out the Guam ones here coming up later on the schedule. We got that set for a day coming up in February, where we're going to knock out all of the 5 airports on the Guam list. You go into the passport book, and it will show you which ones you have visited. Now, Kona, we just visited tonight. It's already stamped our visit here for today. All you have to do is be connected to the VATSIM network and parked for somewhere around 5 minutes or so, and it will register that visit. The small airports we did a few streams ago. We did in the A2A Simulations Comanche. We flew a bunch of these here at the on a day there was nothing else going on, and we did not have VATSIM air traffic control for that flight, but we hit out a bunch of the ones here on the small airports list. We've only got 3 left, and then over here on the Guam list, there are only 5 that are kind of right there together. It's Guam and Saipai and the Mariana Islands, all kind of in that little cluster. So there's 5 airports there that you can visit as part of that challenge. So we're going to knock that all out in one day. But the big airports and the small airports will probably do one more visit to and knock the remaining 3 out. The big airports might take us a couple of streams to knock out, but tonight we're going to go from Kona to Lihue, and then Lihue back over to Hilo. So we're going to cross the entire island chain twice tonight. Matter of fact, we got another stream coming up with the Learjet. We're going to do a day in the life of a corporate charter pilot, so we'll knock out 3 more airports with that on this list with that trip. So yeah, fun little thing, and a neat little process where they just automatically stamp your passport once you make that visit on VATSIM, and then they give you a nice little recognition and a certificate once you complete one of the lists. All right, well, let's get underway, since we do have the VATSIM air traffic control coverage, and we want to get as much of this done while we are able before we lose that. Let's go escape here. We'll resume, and we can enter the aircraft. There's not too much you need to do outside the aircraft in And this is the JustFlight BAe-146. And hopefully I need to start up spad.net, because that would be why nothing's moving. Well, there's your problem. Hold on, I have that sound. Spell it right, that would be helpful.
Well, there's your problem.
Alright, so let's see if controls start to wiggle around here a little bit as soon as that finishes initializing. Any minute now. I guess while we're waiting on that, we'll tell you one other thing. We do have our nightly, what we call our slant artwork adventure underway. And what this is I start the stream by feeding a one-sentence description into ChatGPT to have it generate an image, which is representative of what we're doing on the stream that night. You guys, once you see that, can then cash in 500 of your Twitch channel points. They're at the bottom of the chat panel, the alphabets points, as we like to call them. Alphabet serial icon represents those. The button next to that tells you how many you have, and you can click on that and cash in 500. That puts you in a queue, and you can then suggest an addition or modification to our slant artwork adventure. We are starting with myself and my furry co-pilots tonight attending a Hawaiian luau. So that is what that looks like. This is Finley, this is Keely, this is Mozzie, and we're all at a luau here. So if you want to get in on the action there and decide something that you would like to add to or modify about this image, then you can go ahead and cash in 500 of those Twitch channel points. And then once I call on you, you can let me know what you'd like to do to it. All right. Are we, yeah, okay, we're moving controls now. That's good. So we should be good and ready. All right, let's start. And I've 2, 3. So 5 is there. 5 is, okay, so 5 is the FMCs. 7 and 8 are the panel. 5 is there. Do I have one that's... Do I have one that's the lower panel? I guess I don't need the lower panel too much. Maybe just the brake temps, and I don't seem to have a view for that, though. Oh, well. All right, enough, guys. Enough. Hang on one second, guys. All right, well, if they're going to calm down, then I guess we'll be okay. Okay, well, we'll get to it and see what happens. All right, well, before we even start throwing switches around, so the wheel chocks are set. Let's go ahead and get the passenger and cargo doors open. All right, so now we can go ahead. I want to change my flow list to represent the new buttons. Good. Okay, so let's go to battery switches on first. Did I not? Maybe I didn't put those on the yoke. What about the nav lights? Ooh, you know what? I wonder if I have the wrong profile loaded. Okay, nav lights did indeed flip there. So batteries. Okay, battery switches are indeed now connected. Okay, good. So it didn't automatically switch profile. I'll have to kind of take a note of that. All right, so now that we got the right one, nav lights are on. So now we can come up top here. We can go logo lights on. No smoking lights on. Cabin emergency lights are armed. Avionics masters ×5. Get the brake fans into auto. Anti-skid and the lift spoilers. We jump down to the lower part of this panel. We can then get the bus ties. Oh, they loaded up in the up position. I thought for sure that I state saved, enabled state saving to where that shouldn't happen if I turn that off at the end of the night. Let's go to the settings. Yeah, see?
State saving enabled.
Alright, well, let's see what other options I have to re-affix. I don't care about the pilots. FMS, yes. Classic, yes. We do want the VSI. Don't care about the tail aerial. Don't care about the lights. Cabin crew, yes. Cabin lights, don't care. Cabin music, don't care. Cabin announcements, yes. Cabin ambient sound, sure, why not? Don't need to see the cabin. Auto ground, I don't know. I like to do that manually. Flip chart, weight sync, and with the options, yes. Knob acceleration, yes. Pilot callouts, yes. Rudder axis steering, yes. Sync altimeters, no. State saving, yes. Okay. Alright, well, hopefully that'll all save this time. I definitely did set all that up last time, and it did not save the state, apparently. But anyway, there we go. Alright, so back to lower panel. So these should all have been off. But then we would have gone bus ties on. Yeah, I mean, we would have turned those back on anyway. APU gen can come on, that's there. The left inner fuel pump can come on, and the APU can be started, yep. Alright. This is the moment where we take care of the one undocumented checklist item. You guys going to behave yourselves now? Okay, good. APU, yeah, APU gen is on. So as soon as the APU comes, okay, yeah, we should hear some relays kick over, and we can get the APU air on and the first pack on. Get the galley switch on. And flight deck emergency lights can be armed. Down in the bottom, master warning knob is already out. We can power up the two nav radios. We can get the DME radio powered up. We can go to the center console and turn COM 1 on, COM 2 on, ADF1, ADF2, and the two flight management system entry units. And the center pedestal is 4. Oh, okay, there we are. So we do have a control number 4 for that. And the yaw damper and the brake temp monitor can come on. Okay, we're going to start with 17,000 pounds of fuel. So jump over here to the tablet. Are we in? Yeah, we're in pounds. Okay, so we'll do an instant refuel. And then we're going to start the boarding. I like to just have about 80 passengers. £2,400 there. I think if they eat, say 80 passengers times 60 pounds of luggage per passenger is 4,800. So we do 2,400 in the front, 2,400 in the rear, and we'll do a 10-minute boarding, and I don't think we have a jetway here, so I don't know what it's going to do if it doesn't have a jetway available. What will it do? Will it call a jetway from like all the way across the airport? No, I don't know. Well, it's starting to board anyway, so that's fine. We have, oh, we've got a couple passengers on board already, so that's good. Okay, that's good. Everything is underway with that then, and we are good to go. Alright, we filed our flight plan. We do have an ATIS information here at Kona. Information echo, echo, echo. I don't know if this controller's ever heard that joke from me. He's probably heard it from others, but he's going to hear it from me today. Altimeter 2990, landing and departing runway 35. Nothing else operationally relevant, so we'll check in with Echo. What did we say the altimeter was? 2990. So 2990, we'll check in with Echo. We'll grab our clearance. So 2990, 0. I'll get the yoke out of the way here just to make it easier to see. Controls. 29, where's the standby altimeter? Oh, standby altimeter's down here. I always get confused. When I'm in the Lear, I look down here for the standby altimeter. When I'm in the BAe-146, I look up here for the standby altimeter. If I could just reverse it, that'd be good. 2990. Field elevation here at Kona is 50 feet. This is what's showing on the chart. It's pretty much dead on to what's showing on the altimeter gauge. And we're on 126.5, which looks like the only air traffic control frequency we're going to be talking to, at least in the short term, unless staffing changes. But we'll get that dialed in, 126.5. And then we'll see if we can grab a clearance. We'll accept our AIRAC.
American 59er, wind 340 at 18, runway 35, clear to land.
Echo.
Runway 35, clear to land, American 59er.
And we're IFR to Lihue. HCF Center, Hawaii 5514, information to Echo at Kona, IFR to Lihue.
Line 5514, good afternoon. The HCF Center, you're cleared to Lihue via Victor 20, Julie Victor 16, Napua, direct, climb and maintain flight level 240, departure frequency 126.5, squawk 1351.
Cleared to Lihue, Victor 20 Julie, Victor 16 Napua, then direct. We'll climb and maintain flight level 240, departure with you, and squawk 1351 for Hawaii 5514.
Hawaii 5514, your readback is correct. Expect runway 35 for departure. Push back at your discretion, face south, call me for taxi.
Alright, we'll face south and call in a few. Hawaii 5514, thanks. Okay, no surprises there, except for the fact that we're going right up to our cruise altitude, which is not horribly common, but I guess here it might be. Kitty Monster is checking in. How are you, Kitty? Strudel also is here. Very good. Good to see you both. Alright, so we got comm radio set, IFR clearance obtained. Let's go ahead and jump down to the center and get that. We'll just go menu over here. And over here, we'll just enter flight plan. We are at PHKO. Enter. Accept. We're going to start with the Kona VOR just to give us that line to intercept to Victor 20 and Julie. So we'll go list and airways. Victor 20, which is selection 5. And maybe we go to the next page. Next page. Next page. I haven't seen it yet. There's a lot of points on this airway.
American 59, welcome to Kona, vacate.
There it is.
When able, taxi to parking via Alpha.
Choice 101.
Right, when able, taxi parking vehicle from American 59er.
Does Navigraph not take Discover cards? I really have no idea. I have no idea. I think I have it on my PayPal, to be honest. After Julie, we go to the list again. And Airways. And we're going to be on Victor 16, I believe, after that.
Nippon Cargo 06, heavy contact, HCF approach 118.3. Good
Hey! What's going on? Stop. Alright, Victor 16 to Napua. Alright, hang on guys, hang on 1 second. Sorry about that. Where'd we go? So Victor 16 to Napua. Okay, next. Figure we're going to be paging through a bunch of these as well. I saw one was LAX. We're not anywhere near there. They must recycle these Victor Airways from the mainland. Keep going. This is crazy. This is a crazy amount of fixes. I'd rather just enter it. There we are, 162. Problem with that is if you just enter it, see if you do it this way, it imports all the points in between from the last point to the present point. So that's a good reason to use the list. After Napua, it's just the Lihue VOR, enter, accept, and then it's the airport, PHLI, enter, accept. Alright, we'll go to the nav page. We'll go to the flight plan page over here. I think we're good. Our radar vectors to the first point, and then we'll join Victor 20. So we're good. Alright, we have that done. Our first waypoint is armed. Let's go down to the bottom and set our squawk code, which was 13 something or other, right? 1351. And then we'll put that into TA, or just to exponder mode rather. Come back to the okay, there we go. Back to the front. We are going to set the heading bug to just the runway heading, since there's no departure procedure. So 356 really, 355 and a half, so rounds to 356. So just a couple degrees shy of due north. We'll make sure we are in RNAV mode. I'll tell you what, let's make sure we're not going to be direct Kona VOR. The VOR is kind of right here at the airport. At the very minimum, we're going to be direct as Point Robin, but we're probably going to just intercept Victor 20 maybe a little further up. Reese is this one over here. So, yeah, Robin's probably a more reasonable first waypoint. But again, we're probably going to intercept Victor 20 further up the line. So, let's just say that we're going to go direct to Robin and enter. And, of course, we're just going to start as radar vectored until we are told to go somewhere. So, alright, so that's all set, and it makes sense. The heading is the runway heading for now. The initial altitude, very simply, is just flight level 240 all the way up to cruise. And should be able to hit the altitude select from here, which would be nice if that works. No? Oh, because the flight director's not on. So now if I try it. Hey, it works. Okay, good. And then heading mode should work also. Yay. Okay.
Cross 104, Heavy HCF Center. Welcome aboard.
Okay, so heading bug, autopilot RNAV, flight directors, initial altitude set. We are pushing back from the terminal. Doors are closed, so perfect timing. Let's go ahead and remove the outs. First of all, let's verify parking brake is set and brake pressure seen. So now let's go ahead and pull the chocks away. We can get the elevator trim set by clicking on the center of gravity. Okay, we did see the wheel turn there, so that's good. Let's go ahead and get our oxygen systems on. We'll go ahead and do that since we are now sealed up. Doors are closed. Let's jump up top and get the fashion seatbelt signs on. Cabin pressure, we're going to be cruising at 24,000, so we'll set that on the inner scale. The outer scale says that the cabin altitude is going to be 5,500 at that height, so there we go. We'll check on that as we climb. The ice detection switch can come on. Engine anti-icing comes on just for the start process. And then let's go ahead and set the TMS. Temperature is 28. That's according to the ATIS. I'm sorry, ATIS information, so 28. We'll go ahead and power it on. We'll put it into takeoff. It's going to be 89.1, and we'll go ahead and set our bugs for a flaps 18 departure. Statute miles. We got scattered clouds, so partly cloudy sky. Temperature 28. Well, we're not going to be able to. There'll be some precipitation between here. The south of our course, it looks like it's fairly favorable weather along our route, so we'll try and beat the weather there. Okay. Greetings from the flight deck and welcome aboard Hawaiian Airlines Flight 5514 with service to Lihue. We're due to push back now. We'll get underway here in just a couple of minutes and anticipate close to an on-time departure with the wheels up going at right at quarter till the hour. Flight time once we're airborne is 54 minutes. We'll be cruising at 24,000 feet. The weather here is fairly favorable with partly cloudy skies and very light surface winds. There is some precipitation south of our course. It'll be left of us as we fly out. Hopefully, we won't have too many adverse effects in terms of turbulence on our way. Hopefully, we'll find some nice smooth air to cruise for you up at 24,000 feet. We'll give you an update on the weather situation at Lihue over on the west end of the island chain once we are getting ready to start our descent there. For now, sit back, relax, get those seatbelts fastened for us, and we will be underway shortly. Thanks again for flying with us on Hawaiian Airlines. Okay. Let's get a pushback planned. He did say that we did not need to call him for that. We just need to face south and then call him for taxi. So we'll get that planned. Spun around to there. Okay, and enter. We'll request our pushback. That will get our tug on the way to us. Get the beacon light on. Jump up top to the upper panel. We can get pack 1 off. We get the remaining fuel pumps on. Start master on. And then let's go ahead and get rolling. Did we? Okay, yeah, we are. Okay, we will start with the number 4. And when we see that upper gauge get to 2%, bottom gauge gets to about 15, go ahead and pull the fuel lever out of cutoff. Okay, so MasterCard, Visa, and Amex, but they don't take Discover. Yeah, I didn't know. I don't have one. I just have just the Visa bank card that I get with my checking account. I think I do have a Visa credit card also, but I don't use it hardly ever. Arsik Chavez stopped in. Cyril says, "Oh, now I'm kind of a stalemate. All my cards are cards that Navigraph doesn't accept." Yeah, I think I did it through PayPal, to be honest. We can reset the parking brake. Oh yeah, so you can do a prepaid card from the gas station as a Skinny Monster. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Okay, so I'm not paying attention. The number 4 started. Let's go ahead and get the number 3 up and running. But we are... Yeah, we're done there. Brake pressure is once again shown, so we're good. 2% in, we'll get the fuel cut off. Disengaged. Cut off disengaged. Fuel engaged. However you want to say it, it's fine. Temperature starting to come up. Once it gets to about 10%, you'll see it really kind of surge up, and then we watch the red light go out, and we'll go to the next one. Okay, red light's out. We'll go to the top here. Select number 2 and start. Okay, when we get to 2%, you'll see the thrust lever come out of the cutoff position. Okay, so temperature starts to kick in basically as soon as that happens. And then we'll hop up top for one more. Once it gets through 10s, temperature starts to surge up. Yeah, normally they wouldn't say that until we were close to the hold short, but I mean, I'm glad we're on top of our game and getting that done early. Okay, we got 1%. 1.9, 2%. Okay, fuel comes in. Temperature starts to surge up. Gets through 10, it really starts to go, and then once the red light comes out, we can jump back up top, and yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's off. That's start master off. We'll leave the APU on actually until after takeoff. Interesting reason for that, we'll talk about. Start selector off. Start master off. Ice protection off. Screen and probe heats on, generators on, packs on, and if we jump up top here, we can get the hydraulic pumps on, and then we'll get the AC and PTU, which is like kind of emergency cross feed pumps on as well. Alright, back down we go. We can get our control surfaces.
19 negative, you're about 15 miles from airspace. I'll go ahead and cancel you now. You're leaving my airspace to the northeast. No further ATC.
Got gauges for the ailerons, but not for anything else.
Radar service terminated. Frequency change approved. Squawk 2000.
Go ahead and get flaps 18.
For the remainder of your oceanic cruise, and have a great flight to LA.
We'll get the master warning knob engaged, and then we can get the parking brake off. What's the warning? Electric. What didn't I do electric wise? Oh, gens. Okay, well that's the last of our warnings. And then if we come down here, hold the brakes, and press the config check, no warnings, so we are good to go. And takeoff flaps now set. Okay, we're just going to come out and make a left. HCF Center, Hawaii 5514, we're ready to taxi.
Hawaii 5514, runway 35, taxi via Alpha, altimeter 29990.
29990, we'll taxi 35 via Alpha, Hawaii 5514.
Attention all aircraft, the HCF Center will be closing in 15 minutes.
Okay, so that's Alpha and that's Hotel. Okay, on the taxi up, weather radar can be on and range set. Departure frequencies confirmed. We're already talking to them. Minimum departure fuel 4,100, and we've got plenty. We've got like 7,000. Kilograms, by the way, on that gauge at least. Alright, so we got weather radar on, departure frequency set. This transponder can be TA and RA. Looks like we're going to be number 1 when we get there. We'll go ahead and get continuous ignition. Okay, we'll assume that they've come back and said cabin secure. So at this point, it's just the lights. Center line 5514 at Kona. We'll be ready at the end.
Line 5514, fly heading 240, wind 34018, runway 35, clear for takeoff.
Heading 240, clear for takeoff 35, Hawaii 5514. Okay, so that is a left turn to 240, so we'll get that ready to go in the heading bug. Strobe, landing, and turn off lights on. So we do strobe when you enter the runway.
4 heavy, you're requesting 380.
Forward facing lights when you have the takeoff clearance.
Request 104 heavy, climb maintain flight level 380, that'll be your final.
Okay, run it to about 55, no warnings, all readings normal.
TMS set to takeoff.
Go ahead and get our takeoff power set.
Power set, N1 achieved. Speed alive, both sides.
Get a little bit of forward pressure on the yoke to pin that nose wheel down for a moment until we get to the 80 knot call.
80 knots, cross-checked.
There we go, we can release that.
5514, we'll make that a heading 320 departure.
320, 5514. Kind of an odd time to get that to me, but okay.
V1. Rotate. V2.
Okay.
Rate to climb, gear up.
Gear coming up. Okay, we'll pitch to the bubble here. Ooh, gotta keep the nose down. It's a nice warm day. Get through 400, we'll start the turn. Lower the nose and pick up some speed. Okay, we'll go to max continuous thrust. Keep the bubble. Yeah, we're not going to lower the nose and pick up speed yet. Sorry, we're going to do that until we get to 1,000. But now that we're through 1,000, now we can lower the nose, pick up a little speed. See if we can capture vertical speed of 500 and autopilot on. Got the raid from 757 Spy. Well, hey, Dave. Thanks to everybody coming over from the Spy raid. Welcome. Good to see you. We're just now off of Kona as we are in the BAe-146. And we're going to do some Hawaiian flying tonight. So thanks to everybody coming over from the Spy raid. Hope that Jill had a good stream today. And thank you for joining us for this one. All right, we're through the red bug speed. We can go ahead and get the flaps in. AJ Scott's checking in and crazy legs. Center 5514 is 1,500 going to flight level 240.
5514 altitude check, fly heading 270, join Victor 20 on course.
Alright, 270, then join Victor 20 on course, line 5514. Okay, 270. Let's capture the vertical, capture the airspeed at 250 as we pass it. And then as soon as this comes into Victor 20, then we'll go ahead and join that. Actually probably just go ahead and pick it up from Andy's. Okay, yeah, it's coming in now. So as soon as that passes the current heading, we'll just go into LNAV. Right? Can I do that from here? Yeah, perfect. Alright, and it is joining the airway, and it's pitching to keep the 250 knots. Gear came up, flaps came up. Normally in the U.S. you wouldn't do that until 10,000, but okay, sure. Guys, don't forget we got our slant artwork adventure going on. Our slant artwork adventure is where we feed a one-sentence description into ChatGPT to have it create an image that's representative of what we're doing in tonight's stream. And then when you guys see that, you can decide if you want to cash in 500 of your Twitch channel points, aka your Alphabets points. There at the bottom of the chat panel, you got the button next to the Alphabet serial icon that represents the Twitch channel points, or yeah. You got the button next to that, tells you how many you have. You can click on that to cash in 500. Here's what we're starting with, and once I call your name, once you do that, once I call your name, you can let me know what you would like to add to or modify about this image. Here's where we started tonight. We got me and the 3 furry co-pilots all attending a Hawaiian luau. So if you want to let me know what you would like to add to or change about that image, cash in 500 of those Twitch channel points and let me know. Psychic Taco has hit the resub. Couldn't pick a better weekend to escape on a plane to Hawaii. Yeah, we were very clear about that point at the beginning. We were very clear about that point at the beginning of the stream. Alright, we're coming up on 10,000. we're a little early on this. Now, one thing we can do, we can come up here, we can get the engine bleeds on, we can get the APU bleed off, and the APU off. And the reason you keep the APU on for takeoff and landing in this plane is, look and see. So you can see already that we're struggling to perform, right? And when we lifted off of the runway, and you saw how much it struggled to pick up altitude and airspeed. This is a very underpowered plane, even though it's got 4 engines. It is these are 4 tiny little engines. We call it the 5 hairdryer machine. Four mounted on the wings, and one in the tail is the APU. Because it's so underpowered, you leave the APU on for takeoff and landing so that you're not diverting any of that bleed pressure to run the AC. You need all that power for the takeoff or for the go-around. So you don't want to divert any of that bleed power that you don't have to. So you do leave the APU on for takeoff and landing in this plane. Very bizarre in terms of comparing that to a modern airliner such as a 737 or A320. Through 10,000 now, we can go ahead and get the forward-facing lights off, so that'll be your landing and turn-off lights. I guess we can get the continuous ignition off as well. That should be it, right? Oh, and then up top, these backup hydraulics. So what this does, and I'll show you, okay? What the AC and PTU does, if we were to lose... Yeah, see what these kick in, right? Those kick in, and they are able to retain hydraulic power even if the hydraulic pumps fail, right? So that's what they do. But with those on, we will turn the backup systems off. And again, these are things that you would use during takeoff and landing. I saw the gauges drop. I was like, oh, is this demonstration going to go horribly wrong? But then they did kick in, so... That almost got real interesting. Another Rubens here says that's how they did it on the first 707 and the DC-8, as they were underpowered as well. Yeah, I don't fly those. I'm not very familiar with the operation of those, but yeah, it makes sense. But this is definitely that thing. This is just you don't want to divert when you turn on those bleeds for the packs. It does divert some of the power of the engine. And, of course, even in a modern airliner, even in a 73 or A320 or what have you, if you have an extremely tight margin, you can do what they call a packs-off departure. That does give you that little boost of performance. Not too common in the modern airliners, but it's there in case you need it. But in this, it's just SOP every time. APU on. Keep those packs powered from the APU, and that way you've got every ounce of power coming off those tiny, tiny engines. Oh, Strudel's just not able to get his Navigraph subscription, even with a Visa prepaid card. Okay, I don't know. I thought that was a pretty good suggestion. Oh, the other thing we should have done at 10,000, and we'll do as we're coming up on 18,000, is take a peek at our pressurization. I always like to do a pressurization check at 10,000, at 18,000, and then again at cruise. Typically at 10,000, I say the differential pressure is about 1/3 of the way up from its baseline to the top marks. And then when you get to 18,000, it should be about 2/3 of the way up. And then once you get up to cruise, the differential pressure should be right up under the marks. The cabin altitude we knew was going to be climbing to about 5,500 because that's what we had set up top here. Right? At 24,000, 5,500 is where we're going to be. So we knew that. And we can see that it is continuing to climb. It's almost at that point and is climbing at a normal rate. So right now everything looks good. The cabin altitude should be leveling off. And by cabin altitude, of course, we mean the perceived altitude in the passenger cabin based on the air density. So it feels like, in terms of the air density, it feels like the people behind me are sitting at 5,500 feet, even though we're at, 20-some thousand right now.
39, you're cleared to Honolulu via Victor 20, Hope 2V5 arrival. Maintain 1652,000 departure.
The other thing we can do now that we're through 18, we'll go ahead and change from a local altimeter to a standard altimeter. That also means we're no longer at something thousand, something hundred feet. We are now, because of the transition from the local to standard, that also means we're now at flight level something, something, something. Right? If you're calibrated to a locally observed altimeter setting, you are not at flight level anything. You're at something thousand, or maybe something thousand, something hundred. If you're at standard, then you are at flight level such and such.
Southwest 3239, you are cleared to Honolulu via Victor 20, hold left to join Julie 5 arrival. On the maintain 166,000, departure frequency 126.5, although I'm going to be offline here in a few minutes, and squawk 2344.
Oh, AJ Scott, you want to do something with our image? Adam, yes, I am U.S. born and raised. I live in the Mid-Atlantic. I live on the east coast of Maryland. I wasn't quite sure what your last question was about. But AJ wants to make a modification to our slant artwork adventure. So here's our slant artwork adventure. AJ Scott has put in 500 Twitch channel points there at the bottom of the chat panel. So AJ, tell me what would you like to add to this image or modify about this image. Let me know. By the way, if you put that in and you think I haven't seen it, you can use this command to get my attention.
We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Exclamation point art. We got the follow there from Cap Chris as well. The puppies need to have the puppies need to have a drink too in our little terrace. Yeah, guys, if you're new to the stream, yeah, these are my real world furry co-pilots, depicted pretty accurately by ChatGPT. This is my elder statesman Finley. He's getting up in age. He's got arthritis. He doesn't get around as well anymore. He's kind of handed over the reins of security detail to our middle child here, Mozzie, on the right. Mozzie is the one. If you hear sudden barking in the middle of the stream, it's usually him. He's barking at some imperceptible noise that happened out front or out back. Wind blows a leaf over. He barks all about it. This is Keely. She's a year and a half old. She's purebred Shih Tzu. The boys are rescues. She's a year and a half old purebred Shih Tzu, and she rules. She is Mussolini reincarnated. She rules this household with an iron paw. So we call her our 11.4 pound terrorist. And AJ says she needs to have a drink also. She's not old enough, but we won't tell anybody. And then Strudel wants to add to it as well. Strudel, you'll be next in line. Let's get this modification underway, and then Strudel will see what you want to do.
Romeo Echo, it's ready to be a part plate line for you. Returning to Kona, I will be offline, so we'll be able to amend that if you decide to make a stop somewhere. Squawk 2160, and call me when you're ready for taxi.
Squawk 2160,
Alright, so AJ, we're working on that. Strudel, you'll be next in line as soon as we get this one done. Don't ask, don't tell you. She's got a stellar fake ID that we paid premium for.
Heavy illegal airspace to the south, no further ATC at this time. Oceanic flight service is offline. Radar service terminated.
Coming up on cruise, we can go ahead and get the fasten seatbelt signs off now. Seems to be nice and smooth here so far. We will go ahead and leave it. What do I have the dial set at? 7? I'd like to set it at
14. Unfortunately, I need to close here. Radar service terminated. Switch to Unicom. Change approved. And have a nice flight to Lihue.
Alright, thanks for being on, and we'll miss you. So Hawaii 5514, frequency change approval. See ya.
Attention all aircraft, HCF Center is closed this time. Hopefully someone will come by and open back up. If not, I'll be online. Probably to you in a few hours.
Alright, there we go. So we are
Alright, thanks. See ya.
22.8. And actually, if we can, I think there's a way to move this up to, yeah, move that up so that we can get to the radio panel here. And then on the second radio, we come down to here, 21. 5. And then we'll monitor both 1 and 2. So we're transmitting and receiving on advisories, and we're monitoring guard as well. So that should be reflected on vPilot as well. So yeah, transmitting and receiving on COM 1 22.8, receiving only on COM 2 121.5. Okay, each of the dogs has a drink now. Mozzie doesn't look too happy about his. Actually, none of them look too happy about theirs. I look very happy. The dogs look like Dad, seriously. Strudel, you're up. What would you like to do to that? We are still at climb power, by the way. I am letting the speed come up to close to our cruising speed, and then we'll knock it down to what we call it's turbine gas temp, and then you set the turbine gas temp, but because it dials the engines into a target turbine gas temp, I just call it target mode because it looks like it's what the word is. But either way, we're straight in terms of you know what it does. We can dial the bubble. So the bubble is only tied to the bug. It doesn't really do anything in terms of the autopilot. But as the speed comes up to the desired speed, we'll go ahead and knock it into target. It's telling us we need to lower the throttles physically to achieve that. And then once you get close enough, it's like, yeah, you got it close enough. I got it from here. All right, so the lights go out, and it doesn't matter if it's exact. If you get it in the ballpark, that box, that magic box, will kind of take care of the rest. So you just get them to whatever point it takes for the lights to go out, and then it'll fine tune. Now let's see what that 740 does for us. We do need to kind of monitor and see, and I'll just set the bug to the current speed. If the bubble continues to drift up, I don't want to get an overspeed warning. I have to watch that pretty closely. Is the ground speed continuing to come up? If it is, we'll knock the 740 back maybe by a couple degrees or so. Yeah, it is. It's still kind of creeping up on us. Let's knock that down to, say, 720. 720 in the books. Yeah, that's what I thought. Overspeed warning just barely started to kick on. But we caught it. It was right in time there. And this is, so we'll see if the ground speed starts to drop off, but we don't want to drop off like gangbusters here either. Greetings from the flight deck with an update. We've reached our cruise altitude of 24,000 feet. We've turned off the fasten seatbelt signs, and we can invite you to go ahead and remove your seatbelts if you need to move around. The cabin crew is going to come around with a fine selection of Red Bull products and roast pig. So do sit back, relax, and enjoy, and we'll give you an update on the situation weather-wise in Lihue once we are ready to start our descent. Thanks again for flying along with us on Hawaiian Airlines Flight 5514. The straw hats with the drawstring, one of those Connor hats. I'm not familiar with the term Connor hat. I'll double check. Durable, sustainably crafted, and often crushable hat designed for sun protection. Okay. I had never heard that term before. That's why I needed to just double check just for my own peace of mind. Well, we'll get that rocking for you, Mr. Strudel. So the speed's dropped off a little bit, so let's go ahead and just try and find a happy medium. Take that up to 730. Hang on. Alright, yeah, I'm going to have to start over. I accidentally bumped the shopping request, and now it just wants to tell me about Connor hats that I can buy. I'm going to start over. Bear with me. Okay, so that our cruise speed has kind of settled in nicely there. I'm kind of hearing some clunking around. Like, I guess that's just the food service going on. I don't know what the heck's going on. We're having a luau in the cabin back there. Yep. Yeah, we've oversped just a tiny little bit here. Knocked it back down to 710, and then that got us back off the overspeed, but then let's put it on 720 just to sustain it. Right where we're at. Okay. Alright, we'll close that. Paste that. New chat. Okay, so this is going to be take two, so the layout might change a little bit as it kind of re-envisions the request. But Strudel will show you that result as soon as we have it, and then in the meantime, let's start thinking about our descent into Lihue. So here's the airport diagram. We no longer have VATSIM air traffic control on, right? Nobody? Yeah, so there's no ATIS information or anything like that. So let's get a VTAR there and figure out which runway we want to land on. .070 at 10, so we want to land northeast bound if we can. I know that's tricky here. So there is a runway 3, but I'll show you why we consider that to be tricky. It's only 10 knot crosswind. Yeah, we might want to go for runway 3 just for the funsies of it. It's a little interesting though. So look, there's no published approach to runway 3, and there's a reason for that. So ILS or LOC to runway 35, and the reason is this nice big hill right here in the path to runway 3. Circling not applicable, not allowed, however you want to read that, west of runway 17 and 35. So we you could fly an approach to 35 and then break off and circle to land runway 3, except you can't. You can't go west of 17. So it looks like we're just going to go ahead and land on 35. A little bit of a left to right crosswind, it seems. But we'll make that work. Now, I've done a visual, you know, you can cancel IFR, and you can just do a visual pattern to runway 3. I've done it in the DC-3, but technically speaking, if you're a Part 121 carrying commercial passengers, you don't have to cancel IFR and do risky maneuvers like that. So we'll just land on 3.5 with a crosswind. At 6.9, we need to be at 1900. At 11.8, we need to be at 3,000. So at the point Mork, 3,000, and then we got 6 miles, so maybe we can be at like 4,500. Well, we got 11 miles. 11 to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, so that's 4, so that's, yeah. All right, so that's 1,000 there, so 3,000 at Mork, and then we'll say 4,500, we'll say 4,000 at Napua. So if we want to be at 4,000 at Napua, and we're at 24,000 now, then we want our top of descent to be, well, I'll tell you what we can do. We can do it with the VNAV here. Let's do it with the VNAV here. So at point 18, enter, we want to be at 4,000. And we want to lose 2,000 feet a minute there. So 62 miles. Oh, and we need to be descending 2,000 feet per minute now. We're not 62 miles top of the descent. We're 62 miles to Napua, so we need to be losing altitude now. So let's go ahead and set 4,000. Arm the altitude. Let's go ahead into descent mode. And then sync. And then let's just pull the speed. Let's pull the throttles down. And then as soon as we capture 280, let's go into speed mode. Okay, so it's changed us into indicated airspeed. So it's going to pitch to keep the 280. But the throttles now are going to determine our descent rate. And we need to be descending. And in order to hit that target, we need to be descending at 2,100 feet per minute. We're descending at 3,000 feet per minute now. So I'm going to add a little bit of throttle back in to just slow that descent down just a touch. All right, let's go ahead and get in, get our fasten seatbelt signs on. We do need to set the pressure. Yeah, I never did check the cruise. Yeah, pressure equalized that cruise just fine. But let's go ahead and get the landing altitude set 40. So we'll set the, oops, we'll go up top here. So we'll set the cabin pressure to match the outside pressure, basically 40 feet there. Okay, so we need to be descending now at 2,000 feet a minute, so I'm going to add a little bit of throttle back in to slow that descent down. And then we need to start briefing our approach. So we're descending at 280 knots, and I'll just match the bubble to exactly that. So, of course, the autopilot's going to pitch to maintain that for us, so I don't really have to do too much with that. Altimeter at Lihue was 30.0. Coming up on 18,000, so we'll go ahead and set that 30.0 across the board here. Am I ready for the snow? Yeah, I don't think we're going to get too much snow here on the immediate coast, Strudel. They were calling for as much as a foot. Even here, But, you know, we get that little bit of a temperature buffer off of the Atlantic, and now they're calling for a little bit of snow and then mostly sleet and then rain. So I think by the time we get into Sunday afternoon, it's probably going to wash away. But, yeah, I mean, we're prepared. We're stocked up here at the house. Yeah, you're a little further inland, the LW. You're going to get a little more than we do. But we're stocked up at the house, and we are prepared. We got supply. We got plenty of food. We got plenty of supplies, both in terms of paper products and adult beverages. So I think we'll be all set. We got Caliburn with the follow. Thank you very kindly, and the LW with the resub. Thank you. 47 months resub from ELW. Okay, so we've reset the image, but yeah, not too bad. There you go, Strudel. Strudel's going to head to Whitetail. Oh, good timing on that. And AJ says, I'm smack in the middle of the cold air mass. Yeah, we're down here right on the coast. And that temperature buffer of about 10 degrees usually means when the Baltimore region gets snow, we get rain. And initially they were saying that the snow band was going to come right through us, and I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. Now they're calling for kind of what I predicted, which is, mostly rain for us. It'll start as snow, probably a few inches of accumulation right here on the shore. But then it's supposed to change over fairly early in the event. You're looking at negative 50 overnight? Holy cow! No thank you. So now it says 1850 to get down to Napua at 4. So we're going to just modulate that a little bit. All right, let's get the approach parameters dialed in. The approach frequency is 110.9er. Yeah, pardon me. I'm probably gonna have to ignore the chat for just a few moments as I get the approach set up. So 110.9er and 349er. Oops. Oh, I need to start that. Need to start the landing stats program. If we go missed, it's okay. Green is the alternate. Primary is straight to 6, right to 3,000. And then you do a reversal, it seems, and then back to. Okay, yeah. Here's the reversal, and then back to Lihue at a 250. So we're going to set 113.5 and 250 for our mist. But we'll have to know 600 straight, and then 3,000 outbound, and then 4,000 back inbound. So 4,000 will be what we set ultimately. 116.5, is that what I said? 113.5. And 250. So missed approach altitude 4,000. Minimums on a straight in 200 above ground level. However, 296 barometric altitude. But since I only have an AGL alerter, I'm just going to buffer that by 100 feet so that we're bound by the 296 mean sea level. But at the point we're over the missed approach point, we're probably over sea level. We're not over terrain that is 150 feet. So in order to have this alerter go off, you can't set it to 200. This is a perfect example of why on a Category 1 approach, you can't really rely on this value to put into your radio altimeter. It's not going to work. It's going to alert us late because the altitude, barometric altitude of our minimums is 296. Because the airport is higher than the ground around it, or the lack of ground around it. setting this to the actual 200-foot minimum will not alert you in time. Perfect example of that. So we'll just set it to 350 just so we get an alert before, but we're 296 or 300. 300 mean sea level is round figures are. Oh, we're at 9,000. Let's capture the vertical speed, but slow down. Let's get the APU back on. Whoops, missing some steps here. Let's get the APU back on because we got the engines all the way back at idle where we're endangering not powering the not having enough electricity to run our systems here. So let's get the APU up and running. Get the APU electricity back on. Okay, so now we're closer to 250 below 10, so we're okay there. Okay, APU. So APU electricity is back on. So now we've got enough electrical power, even if the engines come back to full idle. But the other thing we want to do is turn the APU air on to power the packs and get the engine bleeds off so that we have all of that engine power available to go around if we need to. Okay, looks like we are just now starting to receive the nav aids for the approach. We are still under RNAV 4 right now. And we are still trying to achieve Napua at 4,000. Yeah, we're a little... We're going to be a little high for that, but we'll be okay. We've still got plenty of time to intercept the approach. All right, let's do a complete approach briefing. I didn't do the passenger announcement. Did I get the fasten seatbelt signs back on? At least I did that. Okay. Didn't do the passenger briefing for the weather situation, but that's all right. Too late now. Approach frequency and course missed. Approach frequency and course set. Missed approach frequency and course set. Missed approach altitude is going to be 4,000. We know that. Minimums are set. V speeds. Let's go ahead and set for a flaps 30 arrival. Winds, crosswinds, going to be a left-hand, left to right turn off, and I'm sorry, left to right crosswind, and a left-hand turn off, straight to 600, right to 3,000 if we go miss, and then 4,000 on the reversal, and no issues with ceiling and visibility. We already are below the cloud decks. APU, let's get the hydraulic cross feeds back on. We're below 10. We can get the landing lights on and turn off lights on. And then we'll get continuous ignition is the only other thing. All right, well, we'll just do that now. Okay, let's switch over to...
Autopilot disconnected.
Okay, so autopilot's disconnected. Let's switch over to the approach. I was saying we're very high, so let's go ahead and get a speed brake going. You guys can start putting some predictions into the chat as far as the vertical descent rate at the moment the wheels touch runway surface. Is this our airport here, or is it further up? I think it might be right here. Yeah, we're on 10-mile final. What's the common traffic advisory frequency? 18.9. Lihue traffic, Hawaii 5514 is on a 7, we'll call it 8-mile right base to runway 35, full stop, Lihue. Alright, let's get slowed down.
2,500.
Let's get flaps and gear out. yeah, you guys can start putting the predictions into the chat. No bot command necessary, just number into the chat, positive or negative. We'll know the immediate descent rate either way. And the closest predictor is going to get an automatic entry into our landing rate raffle.
Localizer armed. Localizer captured.
Okay, glide slope's coming back in now. It's not going to let me capture it, but... Alright, gears down to green, landing flaps set and checked. We got the spoilers stowed. Missed approach altitude.
1,000.
4,000 is set. A little bit slow. Let's get that back under control.
Cabin is secure.
We should be blown to the right. I feel like we're being blown to the left. Missed approach out to 4,000 set. Left-hand turn off if we make it down. Straight to 600, right to 3,000, and then 4,000 if we go missed. Landing.
500.
Checks are complete.
Plus 100.
We are landing.
Wide slope.
We are fine.
Wide slope.
We're fine. Stop yelling at me.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
Yellow and green spoilers.
Pretty happy with it. I was way off on the center line. I saw the crosswind was kind of coming from the opposite side from what was predicted, I thought.
Brake pressure C.
Or no, I'm an idiot. 070 is a right to left, not a left to right. So that was on me. Crosswind was coming in from the direction it was predicted. I'm just an idiot.
60 knots.
But we set it down nice and gentle. I was happy with that. And yeah, I mean, yeah, center line was an issue. Is this airport really this hilly? That can't be right. That is an insane drop off there. That can't be realistic. Who knows? Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. It worked. Flaps and spoilers can be stowed. Flight directors off. Weather radar off. Lihue traffic. Hawaii 5514, clear of runway 35. We're going to be crossing runway 3 and then straight into the terminal Lihue. So yeah, I got yammered on and really just, I was behind the 8 ball in terms of my prep. Lihue traffic. Hawaii 5514 clear runway 3 and all runways now at Lihue. Alright, on the taxi and what else we need to do. Landing lights can come off. Taxi lights can come on. Turn off lights can come off. Continuous ignition can come off. Weather, let's see what else. What else? TMS. Ordinarily, you're supposed to cancel that on short final, but I feel like that results in a lot of asymmetrical thrust for me. I had selected, so somebody had told me, I think Liquid Dinosaur told me where to find the options to not have static aircraft, and I went in and I selected that, and it's still showing me lots of static aircraft. So that's annoying. Oh well. We'll look at that option again after tonight's stream. No problem. But let's catch the rest of the stuff on the taxi. And so speed brake and flaps, flight directors, lights, strobes. Did I get? No. I always forget that one. Turn off and continuous ignition radar and transponder. Okay. Now is this the turn in for the terminal? No, I gotta go one more, I think. How's 2024 treating me? It's really well, Strudel. I'm very happy. The only thing I'm still flying in 2020 is the DC-6, and then I'm going to fly that Cross the Inside Passage event on January 31st, and then we're going to kind of just shelve the DC-6 and do all of our flying in Flight Sim 2024 from now on, at least for the foreseeable future. Yeah, Jfoot. So it turns out I'm just an idiot. I can't tell directions. I don't know my east from my west. The crosswind was coming in from the correct direction. I have had it switch directions on me, though, says Jfoot. Yeah, likewise. I agree. Which was why I was so quick to blame it when I thought that's what was happening. But no, not in this case. In this case, I'm just dumb. So, centerline, D-. Everything else, pretty good. Like a little behind the 8 ball with the cabin announcement. Didn't do a cabin announcement. And we were scrambling at the last minute to get the CTAF, the Common Traffic Advisory frequency dialed in. So, yeah, definitely a little things I kind of scrambled to do. Other than that, though, I mean, I was overall pleased. And then the touchdown was nice and gentle. Just way off center line because I was correcting the wrong way and then realized too late what was going on there. Now, I think this thing will try to connect to the jetway. We'll see how well or poorly it does. Centerline is just a guide, says Kenny. Yeah, I know. We rely on that mantra a little too much on this channel, I think. So this plane will try to connect to this jetway. And I've never been one. I always like the procedural accuracy is always the thing for me. You know, if the visuals, you know, work out nice and they look nice, you know, I'm for that as well. But that's just icing on the cake. The procedural accuracy is what I try to go for. Giant Pickle says, I know you keep a pretty curated set of aircraft. Have you picked up the E-Jets? I have not, Giant Pickle. So for me, it's the A2A Comanche, the Fly Somewhere Lear 35, this plane, and the PMDG 738. Those are the 4 that I'm flying right now. So, Strudel, I think, did we show you? I think we showed you. We did a regen image of what we asked for. So all the pups have drinks now. Do I have 3 hands? I think I might have 3 hands. I think I have 3 hands here. Either that or Finley has a human hand. Yeah, I've got an extra hand here. Other than that, though, yeah, 3 right hands as well. Maybe a left arm over here, possibly. So it might be 4. But anyway, the pups all have drinks. I've got the plus I don't have my own drink. We got the 3 dogs have drinks. I don't have my own drink. So we got a few problems with this image. The hat looks nice, though. So at least the hat looks nice. All right, let's get leg number 1 wrapped up here. Did I get the taxi lights off as I turned on to the ramp? No, I did not. parking brakes on. Master warning knob can come out. Oxygen systems can come off. Let's come up to the panel here. We can get the engine. Gen's off and the second pack off. We can go ahead and put the 4 engines into cutoff. Make sure all 4 go in. They did. Up here we can get the fasten seatbelt signs off. Fuel pumps 1, 3, and 4 can come off. Off, I said. Screen and probe heats and ice detection. And the beacon light, that's down here. We'll go to the tablet. We'll get the wheel chocks set. Passenger entry and cargo. Did it connect the jetway? No. Well, let's see if we can do a 5-minute deboarding. Start deboarding. Okay, let's see if it'll connect the jetway. Yeah, it's not doing too bad. Look at that. Hey, very nice. Very cool. Okay. Anyway, so we got a couple other things to do in the aircraft. The up top, we can get the PTU and AC pumps off, and then we can get the hydraulic pumps off. Down here on the bottom, we can set 2,000. And standby, yeah, we already did standby. And then let's check a couple of things. We'll check my predictions first. There we got the follow coming in from that one kid with the follow. Very cool to see you. Thank you very kindly. Appreciate you being here. So let's check on my predictions first, and then let's check on yours after that. So my predictions relate to the flight time and fuel estimates. So let's see. We got everyone pretty close to on time, if not right on time. We predicted we would be down at 8:44. It's 8:42 now, so a couple minutes early because I've been here for 3 or 4 minutes of gathering on. But time-wise, that seems to have worked out fine. And then we should have 12.4 left in the tanks. Let's see how that relates to the actual 12.4. 13.6. Okay, yeah. So a little early and with a little extra fuel, but I would say 13.658 is 1,200 extra pounds. We'll take that. That's well within margin of error there. Okay, and then your predictions. So in terms of the descent rate at the moment, the wheels touch runway surface. When we finally set her down, I felt like I was porpoising the pitch a little bit, and then I kind of settled in. I'm like, okay, let's get the nose corrected where it needs to be. I caught up with the speed. I caught up with the glide slope. I was ignoring the glide slope warnings. I felt good about the angle that we were descending at, and just kind of visually put it down on the aiming point, pretty close to the aiming point. And so we skimmed and skipped slightly, I would say. I didn't feel like it was a true bounce. But set it down at 94 is what the number registered as. So let's see how you guys did with your predictions. Yeah, I felt like once I just concentrated on not over controlling the pitch, Kenny, it worked out a lot better. So you guys came in with what? 140, 185, 143, 212, 220, 173, 197. Really, the lowest number is going to win, right? So AJ Scott with the 140 is going to take the entry. By the way, if you guys are new to the stream, what you're playing for here is an entry into our landing rate raffle. Oh, do I even have? Yeah, here we go. landing rate raffle, and then when we pull that toward the end of the month each month, the winner gets their choice of any one of the Slant Alpha Prize Vault items here, any one of the merch items if you choose that, or any one of the electronic gift cards if that's what you'd rather have. Who was the winner? Oh, AJ Scott. At PHLI on 123. The other thing that should be happening any moment, unless it has already, is it should be stamping our visit here in terms of the Honolulu Control Facility Pilot Passport Challenge. So it had stamped our visit at Kona at the beginning of our stream. If I hit refresh here. Yep, so now it has registered here, us being at Lihue. Our second flight is going to take us back to Hilo, back over on the very far eastern side of the island chain. So let's go ahead and start prepping for that. Now, we still have no VATSIM air traffic control on at the moment. Okay, that's fine. I would select no there. I'm not trying to edit the flight plan. I'm just going to type it from scratch. We're going to be Hawaii 5514. And again, we're IFR. We're on a Boeing. It's a not Boeing. BAe-146 200. So B462. It's a medium. Let me get the flight plan page in front of me. That would help. SBDFGRY with an L, PHLI, off block. We're going to say, we say 5 after? I think we can say 5 after. Come on, where's my mouse cursor? So off block is going to be 0205. We're going to cruise at 27,000. Airspeed's 380. We're going to Hilo. Our alternate is back to Kona. PHKO en route time of 105 and left in the tanks is 315. This is the route. I will show it to you on SkyVector as soon as we get it filed here. PBN is a B2, C2, D2, and S2. Performance is a Charlie. I always put, when I fly this plane, I put regional jet because people don't know the B462 identifier. So I put this to help the controllers who look at the comments. Not all of them do, but if they do, they'll see that we're a regional jet, and that helps them know what to. You're number 2, 5 miles in trail of a whatever a B462 is. Well, if they see this, they can say, oh, we're 5 miles in trail of a regional jet. So it helps them out a little bit, I guess. And then we put the stream link in here as always, and of course bonus points if I spell it correctly. I spelled it correctly, except for the fact that I missed a word. Okay. Yeah, it's always helpful if I get my own stream information correct. All right, let's take this and copy. And let's come up here to SkyVector. Let's slap it in here. Blank out the flight plan. Actually, just type it all down here. PHLI, paste it, and PHTO. Now in Lihue, we're already looking at the airport diagram. Let's back that over one. We're already looking at the airport diagram, but we can look at the Lihue 6 and the Ricci 3. They're really just almost more like obstacle departures. The Lihue 6 is if you're departing off one of the northbound runways. The Ricci is if you're departing one of the southbound runways. In either case, this first point that you're going to go to is book. Or bookie. So a right turn off the northbound runway, it's a right turn to 080 off of either runway. And then it's 4,000 feet before you turn on course. If we don't have any air traffic control on, we'll just follow that procedure. We'll go 4,000. And we'll just assume at top altitude is assigned by ATC, but we'll just assume it's 4,000. But then we'll clear ourselves to go higher. Yeah, giant pickle. Yeah, and 5 and trail of yeah, and then you click up on the radio. Yeah, we're basically just like a high wing through 7.3, right? We're smaller than a 7.3 though. But anyway, so we'll just 080 to 4,000. Once we reach 4,000, we'll turn on course toward Bookie. And this is not to, they always say not to scale. Well, duh. Bookie is 58 miles from the airport. So that's a long, long runway if that's 58 miles. So no, it's not to scale. It's just depicted that. So 4,000 and we'll turn. We got plenty of time to intercept that line before we are on course. And then we, see, Bookie's all the way down here. And then Shigi. And then we'll just join Tango 346 basically all the way down to Hilo. So there it is. We still got a little bit of scattered showers throughout the region, but nothing substantial to ruin our day, doesn't seem. Either way, I think we are good. I'm going to take a quick break out of the cockpit for a little liquid recycling. It does seem VATSIM radar has picked up our new flight plan. And I'm going to fill in just a couple of details here. It's assigned us a squawk code of 2224, it looked like. 2224. I'm going to just depart off runway 3. We're going to say initial altitude is 4,000, expect cruise in 10, departure frequency 122.8. And then I'm going to resume from our flow list from the top as soon as we get back, and we're going to try and be pushed off by 5 minutes past the top of the hour. So that'll be a little bit of a hustle, but I'll try not to be too long here. And get right back to it. Yeah, so I went into the rendering options and I got rid of all the static traffic, or so I thought. Didn't work out, but we'll try again after the stream and we'll see how it shows up on the next one. Alright friends, well we'll be right back with you. Sit tight. Another leg left to do here on the Slant Alpha Adventures channel, doing some Hawaiian flying in the BAe-146. Sit tight and we'll get back to it in a moment. Hey friends, welcome back live from Studio 5 just outside of Ocean City, Maryland, as we are here on the Slant Alpha Adventures channel doing technically Slant Golf Adventures in the BAe-146. We're doing a couple of Hawaiian Island hops, and yeah, we're logged on as Hawaiian 5514, even though Hawaiian Airlines never flew the BAe-146, and I don't even have a livery for Hawaiian Airlines for the BAe-146, but is that going to stop us from having our fun? Heck no. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here. We're here at Lihue, and we're getting ready to head on down to Hilo for leg number 2. We got the resubscription from Good Fixins, a 59-month resub from Good Fixins. Thank you so kindly for that. Let me do one thing here. I must not have something connected. Yeah, I might have forgotten that, because we've not been getting those announcements in the stream chat from our furry co-pilot bot. But yeah, that should fix that. Speaking of the furry co-pilots, we do have our slant artwork adventure, and we've kind of... Okay, so I've fixed, I think, the extra hands. While we were on our little liquid recycle break, I had it regenerate the image. Yeah, okay, you can see... I asked it to make sure that the dogs were holding their drinks with their paws, and I had my hands around the dogs. So it did successfully fix that image. So we got the Hawaiian luau here. I've got the straw. What do we call this? A Connor hat? Strudel, is that a Connor hat? Yeah, and so the dogs each have their drink. Now, I'm lacking a drink. I need a drink. So, yeah, we've gone through a couple of generations of this. We regenerated it from scratch, because... we had a couple little things go wrong with it tonight, but it looks in a good place now, except for the fact that I don't have a drink. So, but anyway, if you want to get in on our slant artwork adventure for the evening, you can put in 500 of the Twitch channel points, aka the alphabets points there at the bottom of the chat panel. You got the alphabet serial icon that represents those. You got the button next to that tells you how many you have. You hit the button to cash in 500 of those, and then you can let me know how you would like to add to that image or modify that image. Again, ChatGPT creates the image, and we generally will just use it as the thumbnail, and that's why we try to make it representative of what we're doing on the stream that night, but we'll generally make it the thumbnail for the stream as we upload it to YouTube. We got the follow there from Wyon, thank you very kindly. Appreciate you stopping in. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time is our normal show schedule. Welcome. Good to see you. Hopefully we'll run into you another time, and, well, hopefully that's what the follow means, right? You intend to stop back, so good. Good to have you here. Iowa Scotsman wants to get on the slant artwork adventure, so go ahead, Iowa Scotsman, let me know what you'd like to do with that. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start getting the aircraft ready to go for our second leg. So, Iowa Scotsman, I'll come back to that, but go ahead and let me know in the chat what you'd like to do, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I got the flight plan filed. Let's go ahead and get our boarding. Let's just make it a 10-minute boarding. I always just like to put 80 passengers. Not 8. Dummy. 80. Okay, and then we like to do 2,400. Oh, did I not? I don't think I got... I must not have gotten the center fuel tank transfer on, because we still have that 675 pounds in the center tank. So I do 80 passengers. It holds 105, I think, max. But you figure if each of the 80 passengers has on average 60 pounds of luggage, and that's 8 times 6 is 48, plus the 2 zeros, 4,800 pounds. So we'll do 24 in the front, 24 in the back, and we'll go ahead and start the boarding process there. All right, let's go ahead and let's check that center. Wait a minute. Yeah, auto. Okay, so that'll get that center tank. We only got 675 pounds in it, so. So Iowa Scotsman's going to take care of the drink issue for us. Okay, I'll get that going. Let me get the aircraft. We had intended to be pushing back 3 minutes from now, so let me get the aircraft up and running, and we will get that taken care of here. Flight plan filed. Let's go ahead and get an updated METAR. Okay, now PHLI. So it's, yeah, so an hour later, winds picked up a couple knots. 2999 is the altimeter. So let's get back to the front panel. 2999, set that 3 times. And yeah, we know the field elevation is just over 100. Alright, guys. Get along or get out. Okay? Alright, field elevation is verified at 152. Yeah, close enough. Comm radios are set. We got the tower frequency off of the chart, but let's just make sure CTAF PHLI 18.9. Yeah, okay, that is what we have set, so that's good. And then the departure frequency, we're going to call 122.8. Unless we get any air traffic control. The center controller that was on earlier said he might be coming back. So there's tower, there's CTAF, this local advisory, there's en route advisory, basically, at this point. And then we're monitoring guard on COM 2. So we're transmitting and receiving on COM 1, but we're also monitoring radio number 2. We're just going to assume we're cleared as filed, so I'm going to go ahead and get that entered into the flight plan. We'll go menu, delete flight plan, double click, and back to menu. We'll come over here to flight plan, and we'll enter, we are at PHLI, enter accept. We're going to go to book, BOOKE, enter accept. From book, we're on Victor 15 to Shigi, so we'll go list, airways. Victor 15 is entry 1 and enter. We're going to page down probably through quite a few. Up there's number 56 there is Shigi. Enter. Okay, so book and then Shigi. And then off of Shigi, we're on T346, so we'll list airways. T346 is entry 1, enter. Alright, we're taking that to plaque. That's entry number 12. And enter, and it's going to automatically, the beautiful thing is it's going to automatically put in all the points in between. After plaque, it is Tango 340 to Ito. So again, we'll list airways one final time. It's number 1 at Tango 340 to Ito, which is entry 11, enter. And then it's the airport, which is PHTO, and enter and accept. And then we will okay, so we got it working on your request there, Iowa Scotsman. We'll come back to that to see how that panned out. So we got the route in there. I'm not going to put an approach into Hilo yet. We'll take care of that when we get airborne. We do need to we'll go to the flight plan page here. We'll go to the nav page here. We do need to make sure that we are direct to book, not to some random waypoint halfway through the route. Because when you do 2 legs successively, it just leaves the direct to pointing at some random point. So you do have to kind of come back here and reset that. So now it does appropriately show us as our next point is book. Nice try, ChatGPT. I did even say you can take off one of my hands off the dogs to hold it with. And it did not. It just added me with a drink and a hand. Okay. We might go to a 3rd generation of this image to get that right. But that's okay. It's bound and determined to give me more hands than I actually have since I just got. Yeah. There's going to be a theme tonight, I guess. Already is. All right, so we're good on the FMC. Let's get the squawk code was 2224. We'll go ahead and get it into transponder mode for now. We'll come up top. We'll set the heading bug. We said that the departure procedure, it's not runway heading. In this case, it's 080, and then we'll maintain that to 4,000. So 080 on the heading bug. We'll get that set. Get the plane into RNAV mode so that it can take us direct to book. 4,000 is indeed our initial altitude. We'll get flight directors on, and we'll get altitude and heading modes armed. Okay, it seems to have fixed it now. I've been struggling. Although it took away the extra hand, but it also took away the extra drink. Can't win, guys. Can't win. Seb Part of 2, how are you, man? We're at Lihue. We are headed down to Hilo from Lihue. We're doing some Hawaiian flying. Heading bug, autopilot and RNAV, flight directors on, initial altitude set and armed. Alright, and we are waiting for the boarding to finish up. We are pretty close on that. We can go ahead and get our pushback set up and ready to go. No, we don't want manual. We want to pre-plan our pushback. And I guess... yeah, we got these MD-11s off to our right side. We're going to push back and head to over our left shoulder anyway, so we'll push back tail to the... tail to the right anyway. Okay, right there. Enter. We'll request our pushback. Hop back into the airplane. Should be just about done. Yeah, we had hoped to be wheels up by 4 minutes from now, so we're going to get underway just a touch late. What's the weather situation here in terms of our passenger announcement? Partly cloudy skies. What's 25, guys? What's that, mid-80s? High 70s, okay. Partly cloudy skies, moderate winds, and high 70s. Alright, so we got stuff closing. We can double check that we've got parking brakes set and brake pressure shown. We can pull the chocks. We can get the oxygen on. Yeah, bear with me in the chat, guys, as I just kind of roll through this as quickly as I can. Elevator trim set, so we're going to just click on the center of gravity and watch the wheel change position, and it did. The fasten seatbelt signs can come on. Cruise cabin pressure is going to be set to 27,000. Okay, so cabin altitude is going to be sitting right there at 7. Ice detection switch can come on and guarded. Engine anti-ice can come on. And then let's get our TMS. Power on. And takeoff mode, 89.8, and we're set for flaps 18. Okay, yeah, it is setting. Okay. I didn't see any bugs moving, but it's because the airspeed ones are off the screen. All right, so we're set for flaps 18 departure. Greetings from the flight deck and welcome aboard Hawaiian Airlines Flight 5514 service to Hilo. We are planning to get pushed off from the gate here in just a couple of minutes. Wheels up time was supposed to be quarter after. We might be getting underway just a few minutes late, but should be pretty close to an on-time departure and just 1 hour and 5 minutes in the air once we get up and running for you. We're cruising at 27,000 feet for you today. Weather here at our origin is in the high 70s, partly cloudy skies and some moderate winds, a little bit of a crosswind on departure, but shouldn't really affect us. And once we get airborne, hopefully we'll find some smooth air for you. Sit back, relax, get those seatbelts fastened for us, and we will be underway shortly, as quickly as we can. Thanks again for flying along with us on Hawaiian Airlines Flight 5514 service to Hilo. All right, so we got the pushback commencing. Beacon light can come on. We'll come up top. We'll get the rest of the rest of the fuel pumps on. Pack 1 can come off. And we'll get the start and master on. And we'll go ahead and start our push. We got nobody to tell us we can't. So, and those are just static planes there, which I tried to get rid of the static planes, but lo and behold, they're still there. Okay, so we are indeed moving. Good. Okay, so we'll come up top then, and we'll start with the number 4. We'll go ahead and get that started. As we get 2% in, we'll go ahead and pull the fuel in. All right, temperature's coming up. As soon as the top gauge gets past 10, we'll see it start to surge up quickly, and the red light should go out, and then we'll jump up top and get the next one up and running. Okay, there we go. Okay, getting this turned now. Fuel in. Parking brake reset. Done with that. And I'm done with that guy. Okay, as soon as the red light goes out, we'll jump up top, get the next one. %2 in, fuel coming in. I think we can be airborne within 10 minutes of our scheduled departure. Okay, once it gets through 10, really starts to go. Red light should go out. Yep, up top, we'll get the final one cranking. %, fuel comes in.
Cabin is secure.
Get ready to jump up top and get some stuff set for departure. Okay. Well, that fourth engine, the number 1, but the fourth of the fourth that we started. Selector off, start master off. Engine anti-icing off, generators on. Screen and probe heats on. Packs on. AC and PTU. Hydro pumps on. And then the hydro pumps themselves probably should have come on first, and then the AC and PTU. Oops. Alright, we'll do a flight control check. Okay, ailerons we got gauges for, none of them else but somebody outside will check and verify that controls move as commanded. We'll go ahead and get flaps 18 set. We will get the master warning knobs set, parking brake off. We'll hold the brakes. We'll do a config check. We really can't do the config check until flaps hit 18. And then for taxi routing, it's basically going to be straight ahead and then right down to the end there, so it's not a long taxi at all. Alright, flaps 18, config check, commencing. And we're good. Hilo traffic, YN5514 is taxiing out to the terminal, from the terminal rather, to runway 3. Hilo. So a little bit of a side step to the taxiway. Okay, so that's the double line. That's the edge line, really. I sidestepped over there because I thought it was the center line, and this was the ramp edge line. But I'm just worried about my wingtip clearance to these massive MDs here, so we'll just kind of skirt the edge line for a little bit until we get established on our way out of the ramp. So away from the ramp, we can go ahead and get weather radar on. We got the range set. Minimum departure fuel, 4,500 kilos, so that's 22.5 in each side, and we got plenty. Departure frequency is confirmed. We get up to the hold short, we'll get transponder, cabin alerted, and continuous ignition, and then the lights. Oh no! Strudel says, mid-pushback, the wind knocks my power out. Yeah, the house that we had up in the northern part of Baltimore County, an older house, really susceptible to that. The power lines were old school, you know, strung over the street. But when they did that, the wooded area had not really grown up. But then as the wooded area grew up and grew all around the power lines, anytime it got really windy and breezy, the trees would sway, and we wouldn't get extended power outages a lot, but we would get these little blips as the lines got interfered with. So I wound up getting a UPS to stream with just to get us through the. I mean, if it goes out and stays out, I'm still kind of screwed, but at least it got me through those little blips. Okay, continuous ignition on. What was the other one? Oh, transponder, TARA. Hilo traffic, Hawaii 5514's BAe-146 departing runway 3, IFR eastbound. Hilo, right-hand turn out. Okay, we're going to take landing lights, strobe lights, turn off lights. We did not hear any traffic. We did not see any traffic. We'll get lined up. We'll set 55. Okay, everything looking good.
TMS
Takeoff power's coming at you.
Power set, N1.
Okay, a little bit of forward pressure. We'll pin the nose wheel down.
80 knots, cross-checked.
Okay, we can release that forward pressure. 400 feet and then a right turn, 080.
V1. Rotate. V2. Positive rate of climb, gear up.
Okay, gears coming up. We'll pitch to maintain the bubble. .400 knots. We can start the right turn. We'll still maintain the bubble to 1,000. It's not 400 knots. 400 feet. We'll pitch to. We'll start the right turn 080. We'll still pitch to maintain the speed though until 1,000. Okay, there's 1,000. Max continuous thrust. Roll out on 080. And we can lower the nose and let the speed build up a little bit. Hilo traffic, Hawaiian 5514 clear of runway 3 and on the eastbound turn out IFR Hilo. Correction, Lihue. Okay, we'll just pitch to maintain like maybe a 5.
Safe height speed. Select flaps on.
Okay, flaps coming in. We're past the red bug speed. Of course, now as the flaps are coming in, we got to pitch up to counteract that loss of lift. Go ahead and get the bug set to 250. We don't want to be losing altitude now. Alright, we're going to go ahead and say we're cleared up to 270. It's just we're not going to turn toward book until after passing 4,000.
I'm going to need some pliers and a set of 30-weight ball bearings. Hell, you need ball
Melvin is here.
It's all ball bearings nowadays.
Alright, so flaps are in, gear is up, max continuous thrust. Good Fixins is here. Of course, we knew Good Fixins was here. He resubbed a little bit ago, but now he's even chatting with us, so he's even more here. All right, and then let's. So direct to book is going to be about a 130. So as soon as we pass 4,000, we'll bang a right to about a 130. Say again, Jim is with us as well. Good to see you. Melvin wants to get in on the slant artwork adventure. We'll show you where it stands right now in just a second. Okay, there we go. So we'll turn. I'll tell you what, we'll turn to a 150. We're not supposed to go direct to book. We're supposed to intercept Victor 15. So we will do that. Oh, I think I did. Oh, I did get continuous ignition on. Okay. I'll tell you what we can do right now. We're not through 10,000 yet, but we can get continuous ignition off. We can get the engine air on, APU air off, and APU off. And then we can get the hydraulic crossfeed pumps off. Alright, we've been struggling, Melvin, I'll tell you, we've been struggling with the number of drinks and number of hands. I did finally get the number of hands back to the appropriate number, but we're still missing a drink. So I think we're going to give up on number of drinks and number of hands here, but if there was something you'd like to add to or modify about this image, myself and my 3 furry co-pilots attending a luau with the straw Connor hat, then you can let us know what you'd like to do. Melvin says, I've been struggling a little with the number of drinks tonight myself, he says. Yeah, well, you know, cheers, my friend, you and me both. Oh, you did give a prompt above? Oh, okay. Gotcha. I see. It says the overall theme should resemble a Beach Boys album cover. We gotcha. Alright, so we're through 10,000 now. We can get the forward-facing lights off, so landing lights, turn-off lights, and continuous ignition. Did I get that off? Yeah, and I did the other stuff already. The other thing we'll do is a cabin pressure check. So again, 10,000 feet, the differential pressure should be about a third of the way up. 18,000 should be about 2/3 of the way up, and then at cruise it should be fully the way up. We know that it's going to be sitting at about 7,000 feet cabin perceived altitude, and it's making its way up there, and the cabin altitude is climbing at a normal rate, so we are all set there. And we are still direct to book. Ooh, overshot. I overshot that, so let's come back and get it. Resemble an advertisement for Dog the Bounty Hunter? Well, let's do the Beach Boy cover. Alright, so we got that churning. Melvin, we'll go ahead and get you checked in. Are we kind of coming back to Victor 15 a little bit? Put another little correction in just to make sure we get back over on that airway. As soon as we see the nav starting to come in, we'll kick it into nav mode here. There we go. It is starting to center now. Alright, we're almost 18,000, so just slightly preemptively we'll go ahead and crank the altimeter back to standard. Again, if you go from a local to a standard altimeter, that also means you go from an altitude in thousands to a flight level. Please don't say flight level if you're calibrated to a local altimeter. Those things are contradictory. If you're at a local altimeter, you're at an altitude in thousands and hundreds. If you're at a standard altimeter, then you're at a flight level. Then and only then you're at a flight level. Alvin, this is gold. This is gold, my friend. I love it. I even helped out a little bit and just said make sure that it shows appropriate wear and tear in the printing. And man, it nailed it. That's glorious, my friend. Glorious. That's my shoes this year. Great job. Well, if you're new to the channel, guys, 500 of the Twitch channel points, aka the Alphabets points, will get you in on that action. The way you get in on that, the bottom of the chat panel has the Alphabet serial icon that represents our Twitch channel points, aka our Alphabets points. The button next to that tells you how many you've got, and if you click on that button, you've got the option to cash in 500. Once I call your name, you can, once you do that, and once I call your name, you can then let me know what you would like to do to add to or modify that image, our slant artwork adventure. The result typically becomes the thumbnail when I upload this thing to YouTube later on. That was fantastic, Melvin. Melvin's always going to be the one that comes in and says, you know, he's not going to add an element to the image. He's not going to add, you know, another groovy thing happening in the background. Melvin is going to be always going to be the one that's like, switch up the style and do it this style or that style. He changed the stylistic depiction of it. That seems to be Melvin's game, and they've been brilliant. They've been absolutely brilliant. Yeah, good to have you back here then, Smashes. Good to see you. Alright. So no VATSIM air traffic control as it stands right now. We did have VATSIM air traffic control to start the stream. I was pleased. I was crossing my fingers we were going to have them for the whole time. Didn't pan out that way, but we were grateful to have those services at least for the very beginning of the flight tonight. We are through 18, by the way. We can do another cabin pressure check again. At 18, you should have the differential pressure about 2/3 of the way up. We know the cabin altitude is working its way up to 7, so it's still climbing at a normal rate. Differential pressure still within normal limits. Once we get up to cruise at 27, we'll do one final check, which we forgot to do last time. One final check just to make sure the differential pressure is below the marks there. I have not done any kind of a briefing at Hilo to predict what kind of approach we might fly there. I figured we would do that. I mean, these are two fairly short flights tonight. But I figured we would just do that once we got airborne. So we don't need the airport diagram at Hilo. We're done with that. We're done with that. We didn't even need that other departure. Hilo, let's get the airport diagram up and running. The primary arrival runway is 8 2/6. We very easily can, this is 5,600 feet. We can very easily set this plane down on 3 2/1 if the wind demands it to. So I guess the first thing to find out would be what's the weather situation there. Let's do a dot METAR PHTO, and then normally we'll arrive on 2/6. All things being equal, then normally we'll arrive on 2/6. Wind is 080 at 10, so we're going to do the opposite. We're going to try and land eastbound if we can. 299.6 is the local altimeter there. I'm going to just set that into standby since we don't have that like pre-armable local that the Boeing 737 has. I'm just going to set it down here, and that way when it comes time for us to descend through 18, we can just kind of glance down instead of having to go scroll all the way back through an earlier METAR or what have you. We'll have it right here. Oh, that's right. When we checked it, it was 29.96. Now we might check it again. Maybe it needs to be updated. But for right now, we'll just set that there. We'll know that that'll be in the ballpark, and then we can always fine-tune it as time and workload permits. Alright, so 080. We're going to want on, it's a 10 knot. I mean, we could land on 2/6 with a 10 knot tailwind. We got 9,800 feet. It just wouldn't be preferable. So what other what other approaches do we have there? See, we don't even have an approach to runway 8. It may not even be possible. We could do an ILS to 26. We are not able to circle south of runway 8 and 26. We could circle north. Yeah, with it being a 10 knot wind, it does not say anything about not allowed to circle to runway 8. It simply says not allowed to circle south of the runway. So we could fly the approach to the minimum circling altitude, which 840 feet, or higher if we want. And then we can just do basically a circling maneuver. By the way, it doesn't mean you have to fly in a circle necessarily. It literally just kind of translates into a visual pattern. So fly the approach down to the point where we can see the runway environment, and then we can just fly a visual, like, left downwind. As long as we stay north of the runway, we're not allowed to go south of the runway for that maneuver. But north of the runway, we can just do a visual pattern. We might have to fly kind of a short left base because of the terrain west of the airport, but it doesn't seem like there's anything telling us we can't do that. For a 10 knot wind right down the runway 8 center line, seems like that's what I want to do. And there's no. Well, what's the VOR Bravo? And the VOR TACAN Alpha. Will either of those come in like offset to runway 8? Well, that comes in more, more on a kind of a leave. We can break off here and just do a left base, basically. Maybe we'll do that. Still 840 in terms of the circling minimums. So yeah, I think we might just do this one. Come in from Vela, and then pick up this 145 to Hilo, and then by the time we get 7 miles out, hopefully we can just break off of that and head over to left base. The VOR Bravo is more like a straight in. If you have the ILS to 26, I don't know why you'd fly the VOR Bravo. So this would be kind of worst case scenario. This would be kind of like if you can't see. Whereas this, I think, just kind of gets us set up to where we come in from the north and we just enter a visual left base. So the VOR Alpha. I think that's what we're going to do, guys. What's the tower frequency there? 18.1, so we'll be ready to talk on that. Oh, so we should be, by the way, we should be monitoring 22.8 right now. We are monitoring guard in case a controller comes up. But 18.1 will be our common traffic advisory frequency at Hilo. And if you ever weren't sure, you can just check it this way as well. PHTO. 18.1, okay, we knew. We do, but it's like nice to have the reassurance. Okay, so what that means for us is, first of all, we need to get entered into the route. So where are we going to pick that up from? Wapio. Okay, and so yeah, we are passing over Vela on Tango 340. So I think we changed the route to where we go Tanker 340 to Vela, and then from Vela we join the VOR Alpha. So let's get down into the FMC. Let's go menu and arrivals. We're going to arrive. Yes, I think if we say runway 8, yeah, there's nothing. It doesn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, selection 2. Clear, clear. Back, back. Selection 2, which is runway 8. Yeah, there's nothing. There's no approach. Oh, so VOR DME Alpha to runway 8. Yeah, that's exactly what we intend to do. Enter. And we are going to do that from the point Vela. Enter. We'll put that into the flight plan. So now let's go next, next. Now Plaque, Wapio, Vela, Arbor, and then Ito, and then back to Vela. So let's go back here. Whoops, previous. When are we? Back to flight plan. Previous. So let's delete 14. Let's delete this first Vela. Delete, delete. Let's delete Arbor. Let's delete Hilo VOR. And then, so as soon as we get from Wapio to Vela on the route, Wapio to Vela, then instead of going to Arbor, it should take us to the points on the VOR DME. So it's going to say the Hilo 325. It's kind of a helper fix there. Yeah, 23 DME to Hilo. And then, right, and then Arbor. Oh, so we would have wound up at Arbor anyway, huh? So we're just taking the longer way to Arbor. Oh, well. That's fine. So Arbor, and then Prask, and then we'll hopefully see the runway from there. Okay, so in addition to that, however, it is a analog radio approach, so we do want to tune it in as well. 116-9er and 145 inbound. And then if we go missed, it's 116-9er and 07-9er. Of course, the hold is a 25-9er, so we can actually just do it the other way. And a missed is 3,000. So 116-9er on both sides, the 145 inbound, and then the 259 outbound, or 259 inbound really, but that's 079er outbound. So we'll set both sides to 116-9. Oh, and we are at cruise, by the way. Yeah, I was just going to say. Fasten seatbelt signs can come off. We'll do a... cabin announcement here in just a moment. Okay, so 492 over the ground. That's pretty good. We're going to get a nice tailwind. So let's just kind of eyeball that and make sure it's not creeping upward or downward too much, and then once we're sure we're stable at cruise, we can, and we want to do a cabin pressure check. Yeah, so the cabin altitude is at 7, no longer climbing, differential pressure still within normal limits, so we're good there. So I would say we're all good. We just got to make sure that the speed's not decreasing or increasing, and then we'll return to do our Greetings from the flight deck with an update. We have reached our cruise altitude of 27,000 feet. We've turned off the fasten seatbelt signs. The cabin crew is going to come around with a fine selection of Red Bull products and grilled pineapple. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and we'll update you on the weather situation in Hilo once we are getting ready to start our descent there. Beautiful views out the window. A little cloudy today, but beautiful views of the islands out the windows as we pass the island of Oahu on our left-hand side, and all of the Hawaiian Islands will be pretty well visible below the cloud layer, so do enjoy that, guys. Thanks for flying along with us on Hawaiian Airlines Flight 5514 service to Hilo. Well, we're past Oahu. Yeah, so that's actually Molokai to the left. And greetings from the flight deck, a little update. Yeah, we're a little further along than I realized, actually. So this is the island of Molokai that we've got just off our left wing right now, and then ahead to our left is actually the island of Maui. We're passing over top of the island of Lanai. You might be able to not see that unless you crane your neck down, look straight down below us. Well, we are right over top of Lanai. Molokai is to your left, and then ahead to your left is the island of Maui. Sorry about the misinformation earlier. Yeah, we passed Oahu a little ways back. But sit back, relax, and enjoy. We'll give you an update on our descent when we get ready to start it. Thanks again for flying with us on Hawaiian Airlines. Yeah, I realize we're at this point, Nahul. And yeah, you realize it's yeah, Nahul is over top of Lanai Islands. So Maui ahead to our left, Molokai over our left shoulder at this point. The big island up ahead. Alright, so anyway, we were talking about the VOR Alpha. We are going to fly that to runway 8. However, and we do have it entered in, so we got the points entered into the box. So the box is going to sequence us through this. However, in order to do this legally, since it is a radio-based approach, we are also going to tune it on the radios, 116.9 and 145. And then for the mist, 116.9 and 259. So 116.9 and 145. And then same over here. And it might seem silly. Well, why do you tune the same radio on two different things? Well, because as I'm following the approach inbound, I'm going to be looking here. If we end up going mist, I'm going to be looking over here for the guidance to join that approach, that navigation course. So it looks like the 720 degrees is putting us right on where we want to be speed-wise, so we're all good there. So it sounds like a construction project going on behind me. Got the stuff hammering around back there. Yes! Pone Zister is with us. It is indeed the BAe-146. I love this little plane, man. Love this little plane. And we're not, yeah, we don't have a Hawaiian Airlines livery. Hawaiian Airlines did not actually fly this aircraft. Is that going to stop me from pretending today? No, heck no. Island of Maui there to your left, and the big island up ahead. Right on this coast is kind of where we started the evening, right there near Kona. We're going to fly around to the east side of the island and end up at Hilo. Anyway, so as I said, so we got this programmed into the box. We've also got it dialed into the radio-based nav aids. Again, you know, it's a radio-based approach, so you really want to fly it from the radio-based nav aids. Even if the box kind of sequences you onto it, that's fine. But to do the approach properly and legally, you want to do it by the radio nav aids. Arbor at 3,000. So we're going to use that for top-up descent planning here. Actually, let's just do that now. Arbor at 3,000. Let's do some descent planning. We've got a nice little box here that does some descent planning for us. We could do some manual mathematics to determine where we want to be our top of descent prior to, and we could use a present position to count down the mileage to that point Arbor. But we can actually use the VNav mode. It's fairly primitive, but it does the basic calculations pretty well, nicely for us. Put nav there, VNav there. It's already kind of got that planned out, actually. Matter of fact, it's saying we want to start down already. We need to be descending at 2,600 feet per minute to get down to Arbor in time. You know what? I'm going to tell it to delete that. I'm just going to tell us the first point we need to be at is Arbor at 3,000. So who cares about that previous point? But it still says we need to be descending at 2,450 feet per minute to reach that. So let's go ahead and get the fasten seatbelt signs back on. And so we got mostly cloudy skies and mid-70s and moderate winds. So we're going to get down to 3,000. Arm that. Go into descent mode. And then we're going to sync the throttles as I pull them down. And we're going to intercept at 280 knot descent. So we'll just bug that. Okay, it pitched us over pretty hard to get to that. But now that it's picked the speed up a little bit, let's... so now that it's pitching to maintain the 280, the throttles really kind of determine our descent rate. And we need to be at 2550 in order to get down to Arbor by that point. I'm going to pull just a little bit more throttle back. So we're going to be at... this is 2,000, this is 3,000, so this is 25. So we need to be descending. It says 2,500 on the nose now, so we're doing okay. Something I think is super cool about 2024 is it's got charts in the EFB. Yeah, I find it a little cumbersome to do that. I always just keep it in a browser off of this window, and that way I can manipulate it around. And of course, you know, I like to... do things like this. Well, we're going to be at, here's Arbor, and we're going to be, you know, on this leg here, we're going to be at 3,000 feet, and here's the frequency and the course, so we have to dial in, you know what I mean? So that's, I always like to have it there. Minimums, it's a circling approach. We're at Category C, 840 mean sea level, 802 above the ground. But since we're going to be above the sea there, not above the airport, I'm going to buffer that alerter by a little bit. This is a perfect example. So our minimum is 840 mean sea level. It says 802 above ground level. You would think, okay, well then we'll just set the radio altimeter to 802. That's not the case, because you're not going to be above that ground when the alert goes off. You're going to be above the actual sea. So if you set it to 802, it's going to go off late. So I was, you know, a Category 1 approach, you're really bound by the barometric minimum, not by anything that has to do with the ground level. So I always like to buffer that ground level alerter by a little bit, so that the alerter goes off prior to reaching your charted minimum. So I'm just going to set this, I guess you can't set it to 1,000 or more. I'm just going to set it to 990, I guess. 980 is as high as it goes. Set it to 980 then. So by that point, we know we got another 100 feet to go. It's, however, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Cloud bases are reported at, what, 6,000? Yeah, 6,000 feet. So we should be fine. We're flying this, it's a VOR alpha. It's not pointing us toward any specific runway. It's just pointing us toward the airport. And then we're going to break off. Here's a perfect example, see? So at whatever point along in here we see the runway, we're just going to break off and just fly a left base to runway 8. We have an ILS to 26. However, the wind is 10 knots coming from that way. So I don't want to fly with a 10 knot tailwind coming from that way. So the wind is actually blowing that way. So I don't want to fly with a 10 knot tailwind on ILS to 26. So I'm going to fly this VOR Alpha is just going to get us kind of pointed toward the airport, and then we'll just do a visual pattern to land on the eastbound runway. A little bit of terrain west of the airport, so that's why you don't have a nice straight-in instrument approach to runway 8. Not possible. You could slide down the mountain coming in, but we're just going to come in on a visual left base. So this is going to be a lot of manual flying on this one. All right, we are below 18,000 now, so we are no longer at flight level anything. We're now at 17,500. So I'm going to set the standard altimeter the local altimeter. We're going to come off of the standard setting at 29902. We're going to go onto the local altimeter. So we're no longer at flight level. We're now at 1,100. And then how are we doing on our descent? So we need to be 2,100 in order to maintain, and we're kind of doing just about that. So that's good. We also want to make sure we set the field elevation is what now? 40 feet. So we do want to get the cabin altitude starting to come down to the sea level. Yeah, the field elevation. Cabin altitude is perceived at 7,000 feet right now, so the air is a little less dense than it will be when we get to the ground. So by the time you get to the ground, you want the air in the cabin to be the same density as the air outside the cabin, so it doesn't pop when you open the door. So we'll get that working. See the cabin altitude now decreasing accordingly. Alright, so we need to be at 2,000 feet per minute. We're descending at 2,500 feet per minute. I'm going to just add a little bit of throttle in. Just a tiny little bit of throttle in, and that's going to slow that descent down just a little bit. The plane's going to continue to pitch to maintain 280. So the throttles essentially influence the descent rate at this point. Alright, where are we now? We're on our way to Vela. 31 miles from Arbor. It says we need to be descending at 1950 to get to that, so I'm going to add just a touch more throttle in. And that should slow the descent just ever so slightly. And then pretty soon we're going to need to slow from 280 to 250. Are there any speed restrictions on the approach? If not, then it's really just below 10, 250. And then when we get, really honestly, when we get close to Arbor, we're going to kind of want to take it down to 210 and maybe even lower anyway, 170 maybe, to make that visual maneuver. Yeah, this really is much more of a slant alpha type of maneuver here, Jim. Yeah, you're correct on that. Coming up on 10,000, we can come up here. This is a weird plane. You do actually have the APU running during takeoff and landing because you don't want to divert bleed pressure from the engines to the packs. You want the packs running off of the APU. So you've got every bit of bleed pressure available as engine power in case you need to go around. These 4 engines, there are 4 of them, but they are extremely underpowered. So you do have to do a little bit of power management in this aircraft. With the AC and PTU pumps on. Let's go ahead into vertical speed mode. But let's go ahead and slam the throttles back to idle. And as we slam the throttles back to idle, we got to make sure we got the APU supplying electricity now. Because if we've run those engines too low, we're not supplying enough electricity for the plane. But we are now. We got the APU power. So we got the APU supplying bleed power for the packs. We got the APU supplying electrical power for the aircraft, so we can shut all that off. And now we got full reign of the engines. Alright, I'm going to take it out of vertical speed mode, and we're going to pitch to shallow the descent here. because we need to get the speed down to 250. Really need to get the speed down to 210. Forward-facing lights can come on, so we'll go ahead and get landing and turn off lights on. And let's go ahead and just start transmitting on Hilo traffic. Hilo traffic, Hawaiian 5514 is about 30 miles northwest, 9,000 descending. We're going to join the VOR Alpha and left base to runway 8, Hilo. Alright, right hand turn off if we make it down successfully. If we go missed, basically straight out to 5 miles, and then we reverse course to come back in. Missed approach is 3,000. Minimum set, we got to do our V speeds here. We'll do a flaps 30 arrival. Okay. And I am pitching up just to let the speed come down. And then once we get into appropriate ranges, we'll start getting flaps and gear deployed. We're still 27 miles from the airport. Not a super duper rush at this point. But speed management is going to be critical. Alright, approach frequency and course is set. Missed approach frequency and course is set. Missed approach altitude will be 3,000. Minimums are set. V speeds are set. It is going to be a straight headwind. Ceilings, bases are 6,000. And a do we say a right hand turn off? Yeah, right hand turn off if we land eastbound and make it down successfully. And at the point where we are headed to the waypoint called Arbor is when we really ought to be switching over. Yeah, we are on Arbor. So at this point, we really should be switching over to radio-based guidance. This is our airport right here. I believe it is. Alright guys, you guys can start putting some predictions into the chat as far as the vertical descent rate at the moment of the wheel touch runway service. There's no bot command for that. Just a number into the chat, positive or negative. We'll know that you need a descent rate either way. And whoever gets closest to the actual prediction will be, whoever's prediction gets closest to the actual gets an automatic entry into our monthly landing rate raffle drawn on January the 30th. That'll be a week from tonight, right? Yeah, a week from tonight we'll draw our January winner, with the winner get their choice of any of the Slant Alpha prize vault items, which includes the branded stream merch of your choice or a electronic gift card of your choice.
Autopilot disconnected.
And heaven help us guys, my airplane. Hilo traffic. Hawaiian 5514 is a BAe-146 regional jet. 15 miles north at 5,000 descending. We're going to enter a left base runway 8. Hilo, full stop. last pieces to get before we get down. Continuous ignition. Cabin crew will be automatically alerted. You're supposed to turn off the thrust management system on short final, but I find that with my hardware I get wildly asymmetrical thrust in that situation. It makes landing difficult, so I'm just going to leave it on. Otherwise, I think we should be good. APU. Continuous ignition. Yep, should be all set. Going to turn slightly inbound, just so we get ourselves a little bit of a turn to final here. Field elevation, 38 feet, so very little. Almost nothing. We do need to start thinking about deployment of flaps and gear. So I am going to use the spoilers to help slow us down a little bit.
Speed
2500.
checked
Below 205. Select flaps 18.
Okay, flaps and gear coming out. So spoilers now stowed. Okay, second notch of flaps coming in. Got one final notch of flaps to go. Speed's coming down nicely. Hilo traffic, BAe-146, Hawaiian 5514, 8 mile left base, runway 8, full stop. Hilo. Oop. Too slow. Let's get some power back in. Alright, flaps 30 set and checked. Gear is down and green. Missed approach altitude 3000 sets. Going to be straight out to that if we go missed. Right hand turn off if we make it down successfully. Go ahead and alert the cabin crew. I know it'll automatically do that, but keep the predictions coming, guys. Last call here. Going to
Cabin is secure.
be just as we start the turn on the final. Hilo traffic, BAe-146, Hawaiian 5514, now on a 5 mile left base, runway 8, full stop, Hilo. Basically follow the curve of the coastline around. Follow this road almost. Yeah, just take that road. It's ahead on your right. You can't miss it.
Plus 100.
Yeah, we're landing.
$1,000. Minimums.
Sync rate.
We're fine.
100. $50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
Brake pressure C. Ground idle. 80 knots.
It's happy. See if we
60
make the
knots.
next right turn off here. Oh, lots of pink planes in there. First of all, lots of planes. I turned off the rendering options, which had ground aircraft traffic. I don't know why. It insists on putting tons of them. Of course, they've all got missing textures as well. Hilo traffic. Hawaii 5514 regional jet off of runway 8, taxi straight into the terminal. We are clear of the runway. Hilo. Alright, flaps. Spoilers. Flight directors. Weather radar. The strobe light, landing light. We get taxi light on, turn off lights. And what else? TA, RA on the. Actually, I'll just take that straight into standby. Why not? So yeah, is there even an open gate depicted? Yeah, I guess we'll go all the way down the end. I was going to say, none of these guys are actually on VATSIM. These are just static aircraft that it insists on putting there, even though I've told it not to. So we can run over any of these guys we need to, but it looks like they're, even with these non-existent airplanes, pink airplanes. Look out. Look out. Pink airplanes on parade. Alright, let's just run through the taxi. And, oh, I can turn off the TMS. I should do that on short final. I don't intentionally, but I can certainly do that on the taxi in. Speed brake and flaps, flight directors, landing lights, taxi lights, strobe lights. I think I got, yeah, runway exit light, I know I did. Continuous ignition, that's the one I forgot. Weather radar transponder, we did. Okay, turning into the ramp, we're going to get the taxi lights off. Just making up the alignment as I go here. Looks like I'll just aim for this second seam in the concrete. Now, are we going to wingtip strike the catering truck? Yeah, absolutely. But we'll just pretend we don't see it. Ooh. Oh, okay. I thought he was going to pass like right under. Oh, well. No, I'm not going left, dude. The jetway is straight ahead. Oh, now the jetway's going to come to me, huh? Alright, fine. Did I get the taxi light off? Yeah, I did. Alright, parking brake. Okay, alright, well, let's get the plane. We'll get the turn flow first, and then we'll shut it down afterwards, but let's go ahead and get ready to kick everybody off. Master warning knob, oxygen systems. Let's jump up top. Let's get the, hold on. Engine gens, pack number 2 off.
Cabin crew, doors to manual and cross check.
Let's make sure all 4 engines went into cutoff, and they indeed did, so we're good there. Fasten seatbelt signs can come off. Fuel pumps 1, 3, and 4. Screen and probe heats. Ice detection. And the beacon light, which is down here. We'll come over to the tablet. We'll get some wheel chocks. We'll get some doors. We'll start the deboarding, but it looks like we've already got the jetway hooked up, which is good. Love that. Now, I'm not a big, superfluous visuals guy, but that is pretty nifty. And the fact that it just does it automatically is really extra nice. So much of the sim stuff, it's like, wow, it's really great that it does all this nifty visual stuff so that it looks realistic, but the fact that the captain has to control all of it is kind of like, that's not the way it works. But the fact that it just does all this stuff automatically and it happens around you as you focus on the aircraft is really, really neat. Alright, so we got the doors open. Let's jump up top. We can get the so the engine, the engine hydraulics are already off, but you see these 2 pumps are doing their job. They're keeping pressure in there regardless. Go ahead and shut those off now. Down at the center pedestal, go ahead and set 2000 and back to, I already put it on standby since I knew I was just about going to be at the gate anyway. Alright, let's look at predictions. Let's look at my predictions first in terms of flight timing and fuel estimates. I know we got airborne about 10 minutes after I intended to, so if we're about 10 minutes late getting down, that was in terms of a ground delay. No, we made it down on time, so we made up the time in the air. Matter of fact, we're 5 minutes early, so it took us 15 minutes less to get here than I even thought. So I bet you we already had 1,200 pounds extra, and I bet you, we're now 2,200 pounds extra, I would guess. Let's see, 7118, let's see where we stand. Yeah, 10,164. Well, you know what, and I'll tell you what, if you remember, I said something about our ground speed. Man, we had a massive, massive tailwind, so... we get 380 true airspeed, and we were like 490 over the ground, if you remember. Yeah, so that 110 knot tailwind kind of really helped us out in terms of making up that time and saving us a little fuel. So we'll take it. We got 3,000 extra pounds of fuel to end the night, so our company will be happy. All right, let's look at your predictions. Well, I didn't quite set it down as gently as the first time, although we were better on the center line this time. Obviously, that lack of a 12-knot crosswind helped us out in that regard. A little firmer. It did slightly skim and skip. I wouldn't call that a bounce. I would say that we very lightly skimmed the runway and then set it down and got the weight on. So that's just part of my technique in this aircraft, not being fine-tuned yet. But nice general arrival, 162, nothing to sneeze at. Let's see where you guys were in terms of your predictions. We got 225, we got 143, 85 and 185, and then a 101 and a 110. So it looks like Iowa Scotsman at 143 is what, 19 away? And then on the high end, 72, 82, 81. So I think Sagan Jim I think, is 23 away. If I'm eyeballing that correctly. Say again, Jim, is 23 away. Iowa Scotsman is 19 away on the low side. So it looks to me like it's Iowa Scotsman. If someone wants to double check my math on that, I do believe Iowa Scotsman gets the entry into the landing rate raffle this time around. If I missed someone's prediction that might be closer, or if you think I've done the math wrong, you can give me a shout. But for right now, I do believe it is Iowa Scotsman that gets it at PHLI here on 123. And for those of you new to the stream, what we're playing for is toward the end of every month on the channel, I'll do a drawing of all of those who have entered during the course of the month by virtue of their predictions. And what you're playing for there is any one item off of the Slant Alpha prize vault list. So any one of our branded merch items, our branded t-shirt, ball cap, mouse pad, coffee mug, or tote bag. I'm sorry, the mouse pads are now, I've discontinued those. We gave away the last one, and they've been, that one that I just gave away was literally one that I ordered 7 years ago when I first started the stream. So they haven't been very popular, so I took mouse pad off. I'm just such in a habit of saying it. T-shirt, ball cap, coffee mug, or tote bag. And then if you don't want any of that stuff, you can opt for the electronic gift card out of the Amazon or xplane.org store or simmarket.com. So we'll do that drawing a week from tonight, and we will see which of you that has entered thus far, plus anybody that gets an entry between now and then, will be our winner for the month of January. Guys, it's your continued support of the channel in terms of the donations and the cheer bits and the subscriptions and the gift subs that keep the money coming in for those giveaways that we do every single month. So thank you so kindly for the continued support of the stream. It allows us to have this fun and do those fun giveaways every month. Plus the special giveaways. We're going to have, of course, our March Madness tournament coming up in just about 2 months from now. So lots of fun giveaways and stuff that we do on the channel, and it's the continued financial support that allows me to continue to do that. So thank you so kindly, and if you're not able to continue or not able to support the channel financially, that's fine too. Just make sure you tell friends to come by and check us out and tell them about all the fun that we have here. Almost March Madness ELW. Yeah, it's still 2 months away yet, but yeah, not quite 2 months away. 7 weeks away, 6 weeks away. So yeah, we'll be getting that information out about mid-month from now, right around Valentine's Day. We're going to do our annual Catalina Curse trip out to Catalina Island. We're doing that with the Virtual USA Flying Club this time, so that'll be a fun one. But that'll be kind of our cue to go ahead and start getting ready for March Madness. So yeah, it comes around quick, doesn't it, Neo? I'm with you, man. I'm with you. All right, friends. Well, thank you again for flying along with us. Appreciate you being here. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays is our normal show schedule. 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, our normal start time, and our Monday stream is going to be right there on the normal schedule. Pone Zister says, need to get out of Catalina to rent a helicopter at the wine mixer. Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. I've only ever been there in the sim. All right, let's get the aircraft shut down, and then we'll talk to you in more detail about what's coming up on Monday. It should be a pretty cool one, actually. A VATSIM air traffic control. VATSIM air traffic control stream coming up on Monday. All right, let's get back over to the flow list, and we'll get the aircraft powered down. We assume that everybody's off of the plane by this point, so we'll go ahead and start powering. So nav 1 can come down, DME can come off. We'll get nav 2 turned off as well. If we go down to panel number 5, that's power off and power off. Get the ADF radios off and the comm radios off. And let's go down to the center pedestal. Stay warm and dry this weekend, to say again, Jim. Yeah, I intend to. I think so. Down where I am on the coast of Maryland, and down on the eastern shore, right up on the Atlantic coast, it's going to be more rain than anything else. We're going to get a little bit of snow, and then it's going to kick over to a tiny bit of sleet, and then most of the day Sunday is going to be rain. Just in case it ices over, I do have a pretty good stock here at the house of food, and we stocked up extra on snacks to get us through just in case we need it. We got plenty of paper products. We got plenty of adult beverages. We're good to go in case we, my wife and I, the lovebirds here, get snowed in on Sunday and Monday. So, yeah, we got some time to get out tomorrow and do some fun stuff, and then we'll be ready to kind of huddle in and, cuddle up and watch TV on Sunday. So that'll be the plan, probably regardless of what the weather does. That'll be the plan. And then whether or not we get to work on Monday. Of course, she works from home, so she doesn't have an excuse to not go. But we'll see what happens on Monday. Oh, there you go. That's an idea, EL. Says put a piece of particle board down on the grass, and then after it snows, pull that up for the dog. I got to get out to the shed and get the shovels. That's a good reminder. I got to get the shovels out of the freaking shed. Just in case, again. They were saying, 12 to 18 inches down our way initially, and I'm like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Well, so right up by the coast. You guys, if you're new to the stream, you don't know, I live right up on the Atlantic coast down here in the southeastern part of Maryland, and the temperature buffer that we get off of the ocean kind of keeps us 5 to 10 degrees warmer than in the Baltimore region, which is where I'm from. So ever since we've been down here, coming up on 4 years, pretty much every time it snows in Baltimore, we just get rain. And that's just the way it normally goes down here. Initially, they were saying that the snow band was going to come right through us, but it's shifted northbound into that normal kind of usual pattern of the center of the state gets the bad weather and we get wet. But we'll see. I mean, anything can happen, right? Anyway, where did we leave off? We can get down to the bottom here. Brake temps are still kind of coming down, but we'll go ahead and shut the monitor off. Everything's normal there. Once we get up top, we'll go ahead and shut the brake fans off. They'll continue to cool on their own. Of course, they'll come down to ambient temp over time. We're not taking the plane right back out anyway, so we're good. We'll just let it sit here in Hawaii, get it right down to a nice cool ambient temp of 25 degrees Celsius, right? Anyway, up top we go. Brake fans, yaw, damper. Okay, yeah, all the avionics switches there. Anti-skid can come off. Lift spoiler systems can come off. The logo lights, cabin emergency lights. No smoking signs can go off. Cabin emergency lights off. What else? Okay, yeah, there's that, and then we can jump down to the lower half of the panel here. Galley switch can go to shed. The number 1 pack can come off. The APU air can come off. The APU itself can come off. The final fuel pump can come off. The center tank transfer can be shut. The APU gen can come off. Whoops. Well, that can come. Those are already off. That's the switch I'm looking for there. APU gen flight deck emergency lights off. Bus ties and standby inverter. Standby generator also. Yeah, we did that. And then the nav lights and battery switches, and that's on the yoke. ×3. There we go. Cool deal. We hop over to the tablet. And, yeah, we'll close up the doors. Of course, you close the passenger door after you leave the airplane. But we'll close it up, and wheel trocks, of course, will remain on. Alright, so there we go. And, yeah, it's not a bad little shot to close on. And I hate that we got all the FSLTL planes with missing textures. Hate that we got all the FSLTL planes, period. I definitely went into the rendering and shut off all the extraneous ground traffic. Of course, when I fly on the VATSIM network, you don't want a whole bunch of, non-human ground traffic, because you want to, if these gates are all occupied by humans, you're going to have to run over one of these pretend planes in order to have a gate. But we actually had that happen to us when we flew into Midway on Monday's stream. Had to run over some static traffic and pray that it wasn't actually a VATSIM player. And I don't think it was. But anyway, still very annoying. All right, well, once again, thanks for riding along, and appreciate you being here. We're back with you on Monday. We've got an event I'll show you. Should be a pretty interesting one, actually. We're going to do some VATSIM air traffic control. Now, I have not yet been told where I'm going to be controlling, and I have been working on working on the James River sector, which is around Richmond, Virginia. So here we go. In the Washington Air TCC, well, actually, let's back up a step. If you ever want to see what events are happening within VATUSA, VATUSA.net, pilot tools, events calendar, and yeah, so the 26th ZDC at Norfolk International. The big runway is taking a well-deserved nap. Time for the little one to shine. So runway 5 and 23 will be simulated as closed for this event. We are going to be landing and departing runway 14 and 32. The bigger jets might have to divert to Newport News. We're going to have tight departures, creative sequencing, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. I'll show you. Let's get on SkyVector and show you this airport. Norfolk International, just down the road from me, as I am on the in Maryland's Atlantic coast. So here's where I am up this way. Down here is Norfolk, and if you right click, no, hold on, right click, and we'll pull up the airport diagram. So the main runway there, 9,000 feet, is 5 and 23. In the real world, this one's closed, 14 to 32. But on Monday, we're going to flip the script here. We're going to close, simulate the closure of the primary runway, and we're going to have just the secondary runway open, 4,800 feet. So it's going to be a little bit of a tight squeeze, and should be fun. Should be an interesting day. So that's going to be Monday. I'm certified to control at any approach and departure frequency, approach and departure position within ZDC, except for the ones around Dulles and the ones around DCA. So I will control around Baltimore. A lot of times I like controlling around Raleigh-Durham. It's where our trainee controllers come up. So there's almost always ground and tower controllers willing to work with you if you work Raleigh. I don't really care for Norfolk's airspace because it's got all these little satellite fields clustered around it, military fields, and all kinds of people come out of the woodworks wanting to do military stuff. And when we're up at Norfolk, and it's just annoying to me. However, I've been studying lately to do the there's Roanoke. So where's Richmond? There's Raleigh-Durham. Where's Richmond up here? Oh yeah, here we go. So I've been studying to do the Richmond sector. So that's what's called the James River sector of Potomac. You know, normally I'm working Chesapeake, which is this eastern sector that kind of covers Baltimore and then everything on the east side of the Washington class Bravo. But I've been working on so there's my cheat sheet for Chesapeake. Well, I've been working on my cheat sheet for Richmond, and we got over here we got Charlottesville. Over here we got Salisbury, which is near me. My home airport is actually right in the corner of this airspace. So we might be doing that on Monday, or we might end up down at Raleigh-Durham, or we may end up at Chesapeake sector, or who knows? Maybe they'll stick me on some position at Norfolk against my wishes and better judgment. So we'll see. But it will be a VATSIM air traffic control on Monday, regardless. So I hope you guys will stop back and see us. And again, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, 2300. No, I'm sorry, midnight Zulu. On the day ahead is the normal show schedule. So I hope that you check us out. The full schedule is underneath the About tab. It's also published on our Discord server, and we do fly a variety of planes, and we do some VATSIM air traffic control, as I mentioned. We do A2A simulations Comanche, so some single-engine piston plane flying. We do the Learjet from FlySimware, the Lear 35, so a little bit of a classic biz jet. Then we do this aircraft, of course, a classic regional jet, and then we do the modern jet occasionally, the PMDG 737. So those are the four that we fly with regularity, all in Flight Sim 2024 now, finally. We finally transitioned over to the new sim, so put 2020 behind us in all ways. We got one more flight to do in the DC-6 in Flight Sim 2020 before we completely retire that installation, coming up at the end of this month. But other than that, all of our flying has finally moved over into Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 and in the four airplanes that I mentioned. The full show schedule under the About tab or over on our Discord server if you want to see what nights for sure we're going to be on and what we're going to be up to on any given evening. All right, well, that's going to close it up for me then. On the lower right-hand side of your screen, at least it will be in a moment, is our Discord server link. If you want to check that out, you got the opportunity to join into that. And if you weren't able to get a word in edgewise, if I was busy with the plane, you were trying to ask a question or make a comment, you can always check in on that Discord. Great way to keep in touch between streams as well. And then on the lower left-hand side of your screen is our YouTube channel where we archive all of these old flight broadcasts. And then we also have a playlist of VATSIM tutorials. When we upload these, by the way, we always upload it with our slant artwork adventure. Our slant artwork adventure tonight, you know, we always start with an image that represents what we're doing on the stream, and then we kind of add to and modify it as the night goes on. And this is where we wound up. Our album cover, me and the dogs at a Hawaiian luau in the style of the Beach Boys. So there's our slant artwork adventure for the evening. I'll tell you what, Melvin, I might have it before I use it as the thumbnail. I might have it modify the text up there. But that was a great suggestion to have it do that in the style of the album cover. Super, super, super awesome. Yeah, lots of fun. Great suggestion. All right, and then I guess last but not least, we got to find somebody to send the raid over to. Who are we going to send the raid over to? I see a couple of prime candidates. Let me see who's doing what here. Well, I'll tell you what, since Monday is going to be a VATSIM air traffic control stream, I got 2 air traffic controllers on right now to choose from. I think we've raided Jeffrey B fairly recently. Let's go ahead and send the raid over to our friend Stu222. STW222. He is currently working in the center. And by the way, on our vintage cross the inside passage flight on Saturday, January 31st, rather, he's going to be controlling Anchorage for us as well. So we're going to hear him that day. But let's go ahead and send the raid over to Stu222, working in the center on the VATSIM network right now. You guys can poke in and check his stream out and ask any questions that you have about what you see. He is very engaging with the audience when he's able to be. It looks like he's got about a dozen planes in his airspace right now, so I don't know how much he'll be able to interact with the chat, at least right now, but when he's able to, he's happy to explain what he's doing, so please don't hesitate to ask him questions. Alright, but anyway, we will see you back here on Monday as Washington hosts its event. We'll see you 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, midnight Zulu on Tuesday. Between now and then, have a great rest of your Friday. Have a fantastic weekend. And be happy, healthy, and safe in all of your travels and adventures, especially if you're over here in the mid-Atlantic and you're getting this snowstorm coming, man. Be extra safe, stay warm, stay dry, and happy, healthy, and safe, like I said. And we'll talk to you soon, friends. Take care. Good night.